tons of events. Like, I've ran this for Randomania twice. I think this is like my 9th or 10th time doing this total.
Alrighty. We're here. The moment you've all been waiting for. Super Metroid and A Link to the Past Combo Randomizer. We have RaikouRider rolling in. You can do some Metroid, some Link, all in one convenient package. You don't have to have two different screens because it's the same game. He's joined by the incomparable Ancient Gamer. So, great gameplay, great commentary awaits you for the next 3.5 hours or less. But I'm going to kick it over to them. Take it away, guys.
Thanks for that introduction. Hi, guys. Hope you're having a great Sunday night. Thanks for joining us at SpeedDocs 2020. I'm Ancient Gamer. You can call me AG, and I got the great pleasure to do a little commentary for you while my good friend RaikouRider runs some Super Metroid and Link to the Past Randomizer. You ready to go with this, Raikou?
Oh, absolutely. I've been involved in the SMZ3 community since version 9. We're on version 11. We've had several tournaments. We have a couple of races every week that get pretty big turnout. So, without further ado, let's kick this off in 3, 2, 1, go. So we're going to be looking for all of the items necessary to defeat both Ganon and Mother Brain. But all of those items have been moved from their regular locations across both games. So we can find Zelda items in Metroid, and we can find Metroid items in Zelda. Unfortunately, there's not a lot to do in Super Metroid right now because we don't have a Morph Ball. So I'm going to be heading over to Zelda at this particular door. This is one of 4 doors in the game that will take you to a set location in the other game.
Runners that like to just go straight down to the bottom. You see Raikou there doing a map check. Green pendant, vanilla, Hera's a 5/6, and then of course Desert is a regular blue crystal.
Okay, so you might be wondering why I'm not opening the Sanctuary chest. Because it's right there. There is a little trick that I'm going to do to get some money early on. What we're going to do is we're going to trick the game into taking us into a location that does not exist. And when you go into a location that does not exist, the game puts you in this hidden room called the Chris Houlihan room. We're going to be accessing this by jumping to the left of this pier 4 times. What this does is it offsets Link's camera position. It offsets Link's position with respect to the camera, so that instead of taking us to a fairy fountain, it will take us to the Chris Houlihan room. And there are 225 rupees in here. This is very, very important for the early game. Money is very important because since 1/3 of your money is in Super Metroid, behind Morph Ball, and you never know where that Morph Ball is going to wind up being, it's very, very important to have that money to purchase bombs.
Because of the placements of items from both games, across both games, you don't have the high probability of finding money or bombs at the beginning of an SMZ3 seed like you would in a regular Link to the Past rando. So it's pretty much standard. Most of the runners like to do a Houlihan at the beginning to make sure that when they get to Kakariko, they can get those bombs and they can do Bottle Vendor, which requires 100 rupees. You saw Raikou there doing a tree pull. There's 3 tiers of tree pull. Each one will have a different item that the tree kicks out.
No, Uncle, I don't need the blue pea. Although I think blue peas is an Ocarina of Time rando thing, but it applies all the same here. And there's our case of Metroid items being in Zelda, where in the treasure chest that contains the lantern normally, in A Link to the Past, we found a pack of missiles. Missiles are the most common item in the item pool. There are 39 of them.
Now, you see Raikou picking up that Sanctuary chest. You remember he said that he was not picking it up at first. That's because there is a chance, slight as it may be, that the flippers could have been in there. And when you get flippers, you cannot perform the Houlihan the way that he did it at the beginning of the game. Because when you jump off of that ledge, you just stay in the water swimming. If you get your flippers early, then there's another setup, but you have to have the glove.
Oh, that's nice. That 8 bomb drop. That 8 bomb drop from that was so nice. I actually didn't mean to kill the crab, because that crab can have items as well. It's not as important because we have 8 bombs. Okay, good. That ledge, you don't want to see anything there. So that ledge is gated by the boss at the castle tower, Aghanim, as well as the Pegasus boots to open up the to open up that tree. Okay.
Yeah, and in a race scenario, you do not want to see a required item. Now, that does not mean for sure that Raikou won't have to do Aga. It's possible that might be his logical access to Eastern Dark World. Let's keep our fingers crossed that's not the case.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't mind. I definitely wouldn't mind getting off early. But that bomb drop was really big, because now I won't have to run all the way to the south end of town to get bombs and then come all the way back up to the top. It is slightly slower to do it that way, and there are several different approaches you can take to an opening route. I just prefer this one because of the consistency. And that's really one of the keys to racing well, is just being consistent.
Now, you see Raikou, he wanted to head straight to Kakariko. That's because at the beginning of the game, you want to concentrate on volume. You want to go where the highest density of items are. There's a ton of stuff in Kakariko, including the fetch quest.
Well, that's actually fine, because I can turn that in as soon as I'm done with race game. I am also very okay with finding that early. That's so nice. People don't realize how awesome it is having half magic early. It's such a great luxury item.
I'm sorry. I also want to mention, it's also nice that he found those 2 packs of power bombs for Super Metroid, because when he gets his morph ball, he'll need power bombs, and 10 is a much more comfortable number for Brinstar than 5.
That I don't want to see early, though.
Yeah, in Super Metroid, morph ball bombs is logically can fly. The game will treat him now as if he had space jump, which means it would put things that you need space jump to get to in logic, because you can bomb jump to them.
Of course. But yes, we should probably talk about some of the differences in the logics. This logic called normal is very accessible for new players, just because of the limited number of Super Metroid tricks that are required.
Basically, what it is anything that you see in the intro to Super Metroid will be put in logic. The bomb jump is shown in the demo, so it's in the logic. The mock ball is not one of the more famous early Supers room where you do that mock ball. That's actually not in logic until you get Speed Booster in this seed.
And we'll try to mention that when we get there. Because if I don't have Speed Booster, I will be doing that trick to get access to those items early. If you learn any one trick for Super Metroid and you want to get into this randomizer, learn that one. It's really easy to do. It's really easy to do, and it's so important to know how to do, just because those items later on get so far out of the way.
The IBJ is really important, and it can be intimidating to people that are new to the game, but the timing is really not that hard.
It's mostly just getting it started.
Once you get it started, if you just hit your bomb button right as you start to fall towards the last bomb you placed, it'll launch you up every time. It's a rhythm.
It definitely takes practice, but once you understand it, it's not too hard. Alright, we turned up empty, so now we're going to head to our next most dense location, which is the South Shore.
There's different ways to approach this. Raikou, in general, does not like to do the escape sequence until after he's had a glove and checked back of escape. And that's a very sensible way to go about it. Right now, you're going to see the dam and then head on over to Mini Moldorm Cave, which is why you saw him top off his bombs. Right now, he does not have a weapon, so he's going to need to kill the Moldorm somehow.
The only real way I have to do that is explosives. And it'll take a variable number of explosives depending on how much they cooperate. Because they have very random movement. We do have a couple of techniques for making it more consistent, but long story short, it's still random.
Yeah, the Moldorms are the most random enemy in the game. Their movement is pure RNG, based on a trigonometry algorithm, so they can go in any direction at any time. They aren't triggered by your movements like some other enemies are.
Wow. They were not playing nice at all.
Wow.
They are still not playing nice. And I need to be really careful because a bomb explosion will kill me here.
They can also knock you off into those pits on either side. Then they're point guarding Raikou pretty good right now.
There we go. That was a lot scarier than it needed to be.
Yeah, getting that middle one, when you can get that middle one out of your way, then it becomes a lot easier.
Well, this is getting really sticky. I don't know how much I like seeing flippers right now. I might actually take a dip into... Well, I'm definitely taking a dip into Eastern Palace now. So, unfortunately, Ice Rod Cave is probably going to get orphaned. That's generally what happens if you die after Mini Moldorm Cave. And what we mean by orphaned is it's a location that's on its own, that's very time-consuming to get to.
But by the numbers, it's not a big risk. There's 316 item locations. So the odds of it being something important with everything that's left are not that great. Not saying it can't be, but the odds aren't that big.
Watch me get punished for that death. But there's a lot out there still. That's actually what I was looking for. You might have noticed we got that 300 rupee. That's a big part of that's a big part of why I wanted to hold off on going to the Zora area, which is where the flippers are pointing me to. The algorithm for item placement tends to make really long item chains to try to make gameplay a little bit more interesting. So if you find something that opens up your first few locations, that's a big sign about where to go. That's part of what we call reading the seed, where if you just pay attention to what locations open up based on the items you find, you can generally get a good idea of where to go. And it's something that takes a lot of experience to understand what this program can and can't do. Well, we already have a required trip into a pendant dungeon. That's a lamp.
Still, that's an awesome find. Not only does that eliminate the dark rooms, that gives Raikou a much-needed fire source for some of the things he may be required to do.
Right, that's two
And
items.
I don't know if Raikou's going to touch on this or not, but a lot of times you're hesitant about going into dungeons before you're able to full clear them. Optimally, you want to be able to do a one and done all the way through. A dungeon being a pendant, to me, is a bit more of an enticement to go ahead and go in there.
Oh, with Eastern Palace in particular. The reason why Eastern Palace in particular is because it's part of your first sphere, because almost all of this dungeon is available with no items. And that's what we mean by the first sphere. Some people call it Sphere 0. I'm gonna go grab the big key while I'm back here just in case I need to finish this dungeon, because it's also a green pendant. But you may have noticed we found 3 items in a row. Because this dungeon is a pendant, we may not necessarily need to complete it, but it is the green pendant, which will turn into an item. But what we do know is that we do not have to open the big chest, because the only items left in this dungeon are the map and the compass, because we have not found them. One thing that's very important is knowing how many items are in each dungeon. So that way you can count your chests, and you might not have to open all of them. Now, there are a lot of players that actually wouldn't go back for this big key right now, but this is more of just a CYA play, as I like to call it.
I like it because the highest percentage of seeds are going to require the mirror at some point, and that allows Raikou to come back when he comes to pod. By then, he might have enough information to know whether or not he needs to come in here and get that green pendant. It makes comboing it a lot faster. That way, he can just mirror at pod, come in, go straight to the boss, and be done.
It saves a very marginal amount of time if I do need to go in there, but it's still a time save nonetheless, and I think it's worth it at this point. Just so I don't try to go to the boss and be like, oh, I don't have the key. Because I've done that before. I'm sure we all have. Go to the end of a dungeon, like say desert, and then realize you don't have the big key.
There's something missing. Ah, yes, that sure is.
It's so embarrassing when that happens. But it happens to everybody.
Now Raikou's coming on the hobo.
So Speed Booster is an interesting find, because that'll actually open up locations in Super Metroid. Not very many, but it will. Most of Super Metroid is gated by the Morph Ball. But there are a few locations, if you have either Screw Attack or Speed Booster, that you can get to without it.
And it has also, it is true that now there are more locations in Super Metroid that are in logic without that Speed Booster. So that's something that Raikou will have to keep in mind.
So I think the play from here is probably just to pay off the con man and then probably chase Speed Booster. I don't think that's an unreasonable play. Some people would go into the castle first, but I think it's more prudent to chase the Speed Booster.
I think it's a situational call. I think Raikou right now is following the logic pretty well, and I think it's a good call.
Typical.
If you're in a race setup, say Raikou was racing somebody that he thought maybe he needed to try to roll the dice on, then you could chance going in. If that key wasn't in the first chest, you could think about stealing one, go all the way through, come back because you have a lamp. But those are decisions that you have to make based on the situation at the time.
So before I actually chase the Speed Booster itself, I'm going to head down to the Morph Ball pedestal. The reason why I'm doing this is because it's a very quick reset if there's nothing there. Because whenever you transition games, your save point in Super Metroid is set to your ship. So this way, if there's nothing here, no harm, no foul, I can just reset back to my ship and then go straight to the little bit of Brinstar that I can access.
Yes, he did check the waterfall cave. It was garbage.
Yes, Waterfall Cave was nothing. There's just a heads up. There's also after a certain point, mostly when I find charge beam, that I'm going to stop tracking ammo, so the ammo counts won't be current. But after a certain point, they stop being relevant. So the Morph Ball pedestal itself was a blank. Now this item is in logic with the speed booster. As much as I would like to take that back up, I don't think it's worth the time right now. Some less experienced players might keep that energy tank though, but that'll definitely be something to keep in mind once I have Morph Ball and can go check some of the other things in that area. Alright, now you're gonna hopefully see a short charge. Just need to clear these out first. So AG, while I'm getting this, would you mind explaining what a short charge is?
Yeah, in Super Metroid, a short charge means that you are actually getting away from the usual mechanics required to build up the speed echoes that a speed booster gives you. What you're doing is you're tapping the run button on specific frames. And what that does is it greatly reduces the amount of space you need to build up that charge. And that's one of the techniques you need here to bust through those blocks.
Note that the short charge itself is not in logic, but there is a much easier method. The short charge is much easier than the actual intended method that the logic expects you to be able to use Speed Booster to get past those blocks in.
That one you have to start out of the ship, come through the door, get your charge, avoid the enemy, hop over, and then shine spark through. It's a lot easier because all you really need is a 1 or a 2 tap to get that short charge there.
And because I have Speed Booster, there are a couple of items back here that are available. A charge beam under the bridge. I'm going to be coming back for that. I can't actually obtain that charge beam right now because you need Morph Ball to be able to escape the... you need charge beam to be able to actually escape. Well, that's a sword. We are going to hang on to that. I don't think that's any hard progression, but it's going to be a lot easier to... It's going to be a lot easier to navigate the castle with that. Also, something you can't underestimate is how dangerous it can be navigating Super Metroid with just 99 energy.
Yes, and deaths in Super Metroid hurt a lot more than...
Oh yeah.
Because there is no save and quit.
There is no save and quit.
Death in Super Metroid, you automatically revert
Morph Ball!
Y'all bear with me a minute. I'm having trouble with the stream. It's lagging on me quite a bit, so I'm gonna have to pull it up a different way.
Do we have time for a quick donation?
Absolutely.
We have a $100 donation. Oops, sorry, cut out there for a second. It's from Jeff Langford. First time watching a combined randomized run, and all the metal math and acrobatics is making my head hurt. Space dogfights are always a good thing to unwind with, though. Thank you very much for your donation, Jeff. And if anyone's keeping track at home, all 100 of those dollars are now to kill the animal.
There you go.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
Go.
Thank you so much, Jeff. That's greatly appreciated. And if you want to try this yourself, we do have a website for this. The website is samus.link.
You will need copies of the base ROMs.
Yes.
To upload once. They're pretty easy to obtain.
Yeah, we can't help you with that, but... We can't help you with that, but once you find them, then you can play. And if you're confused about logic at all, there's plenty of people in the community that are willing to help out. Now, this is where things get really scary, because I wasn't actually planning on staying in Metroid this long, and we still only have 99 energy.
Yeah, toothless things can get touchy, because especially here early in the game, this is one of the ouchier parts of the game. You're actually not intended to come here until later, because you're not supposed to have any power bombs at this point anywhere close.
Oh no.
So even those the foliage that you see around him, if Raikou hits that, it's damage. Those things hopping around, the B-toms.
Oh, those B-toms hurt.
When they latch onto you, they drain your energy, and a few of them get on you, and it'll drain it fast with no suit.
It's 10 damage per. It's 10 damage per, and when 4 of them latch onto you, that adds up real fast.
Raikou taking the time there to do a little short hop mock ball. That's subtle, but that's a nice mock ball that lets you actually land on the opposite ledge. Normally you would fall down and have to wall jump back up. Wall jumping is in logic. The Edicoons there are actually who's supposed to teach you how to wall jump.
I'm trying to decide what I want to do about Mission Impossible right now. Because Mission Impossible would be super scary right now.
Okay, there we go. Stream had kind of locked there for a second. Mission Impossible, what Raikou...
It's too powerful.
What Raikou's talking about with Mission Impossible is that item that's at the top left of Pink Brin. There's a power bomb door behind there. But there are 2 giant side hoppers and some spikes. Suitless, the spikes do 60 damage. The side hoppers will kill you pretty much instantly with no suit.
With no suit, they do 80. Which is still scary. Like, even these regular side hoppers doing 20 are super scary. So I think what I'm gonna do is actually just transition, and once I'm done with this area, I'm gonna transition, and then probably go back to Blue Brinstar and pick up that energy tank. Because this running around with 99 energy thing is no fun.
Because again, he has not saved, and 1 death, and he loses everything that he's found in Super Metroid.
I was thinking about saving at the Spospo save, but that takes so much time. I may also point out that that Mission Impossible item that actually requires 1 energy tank to be in logic. And what we mean by in logic is there's an algorithm that the randomizer uses to place items. If you do anything outside of what the placement algorithm expects you to do, that's considered not in logic. And for the same reason, I'm not going to create either. Not yet.
Not catch what that was in.
Not me. So it's very important that you kill that Nova and open that door before delving into the high jump cave, because otherwise you're going to be waiting for that guy for a while.
Just junk 20 rupees there.
Just nothing there. I am going to take a peek at what's at the back of RaikouRider, though. Just money. This is a very important scout, because that can help you make the decision on whether or not you want to go down to RaikouRider later on. Additionally, the logic can also expect you to use the highways between games to be able to obtain items. So you can get items in placements that are not possible in standalone Link to the Past or standalone Super Metroid, and we've already experienced that with the Morph Ball. In standalone Super Metroid Randomizer, the Morph Ball cannot be where it was.
Also, a great feature is whenever you transition between worlds, it automatically saves your progress there.
Correct.
Now everything that Raikou has done in Super Metroid is safe. It has been saved.
That was one of the... Good.
We are experiencing a few technical difficulties right now, guys. I know the stream is freezing up and lagging a little bit. The tech guys are working on it.
All right, you guys are good to resume.
Perfect. Perfect.
Thank you for your patience.
Perfect. We'll go ahead and pick this back up in 3, 2, 1, restart. So now what I'm going to do, since I'm back in... Well, I wouldn't exactly call this relative safety, not being 4 hearts in green mail, with these cabbages everywhere. Worst part of Death Mountain. Those hitboxes on the boulders are absolutely terrible, by the way.
They are.
Even when they're... What Varia? That is a Varia suit that is on Spectacle Rock, and I cannot get that. Unfortunately. Where is Varia on my tracker? There it is. Where do I want to go now? Oh, right, I was going to go pick up that energy tank. So whenever you transition from Metroid to Zelda, it will save your save. It'll save your save point at your ship.
And it's you can actually use that strategically.
That's what I'm doing there.
Raikou went up on Death Mountain and checked a couple things he could check, and did scout out that Varia suit, which was helpful. And then a quick save and quit, and then reset, and he's right back at the ship. That's also helpful if you need to refill your Super Metroid item. He's going for that E-Tank right now because there's been some dicey stuff during his Super Metroid run there at the beginning.
Oh, there's the glove. So now, Bomb Chorizo, we actually have to fight Bomb Chorizo because what triggers Bomb Chorizo is you having Morph Ball bombs, but when you have Super Missiles, Bomb Chorizo goes down real fast. So now you're gonna see a trick. Now you're gonna see a trick coming up called Alcatraz Escape.
Yeah, this is the one that a lot of newer people to Super Metroid kind of get intimidated with. It's one of the first technical tricks that you learn. It's not really that bad.
Oh no, it's not too
augmented by the fact that whenever you usually to get into Morph Ball form, you have to tap down twice. But whenever you jump off of a wall, do a wall jump, one tap down will put you in Morph Ball form.
Look at all these power bombs. You ever seen this many power bombs this quick? Like, goodness.
Not really, and especially with morph ball bombs to boot.
Like, that's what you want to see if you don't have morph ball bombs, but because we already have morph ball bombs. Another reason I'm grabbing this energy tank is because, you know what that speed booster puts into logic, right?
Things, I believe. Let's see. Does one E-Tank put Criteria Shaft in? Or does it, you talking about Gauntlet?
No, I'm talking about something else I would rather not deal with right now. Something that no Super Metroid runner would want to deal with right now. By that I mean Fanny. Fanny.
One tank is wrecked ship, huh?
No, wreck ship's in logic right now. You can be like, the logic can expect you to do Fantoon on 99 energy, which is ridiculous, and that's something I feel Total should change. There should be some energy requirement on that, but in the current version of SMZ3, there is no energy requirement. We did pick up powder though, which is the best safety in Link to the Past.
My favorite utility item in Link.
Oh, it's so, when you have powder, you're almost invincible.
Really useful for Mire and Turtle Rock, and actually Ice Palace.
Okay, game. If you want to be like this, sure, I'll get this the intended way.
Raikou wanting to do a little. You can do a little damage boost right there off of that Rhea, if he wants to cooperate, but it didn't want to cooperate.
Oh,
so
no,
Raikou's
it didn't.
Gonna have to do a little charge up there and just shine spark up to it.
So now we're going to be heading up to the aptly named Billy Mays room, and you will find out very much why this room is called the Billy Mays room.
There's a bunch of cocaine in there?
Because if you call within the next 10 minutes and order your super missiles, we will send you a bow absolutely free. So if you didn't get the reference, the reason why it's called the Billy Mays room is because there's one item in the open in that room, then another one that's hidden.
Bow is interesting, though.
It is, because that puts our green pendant into play. But with the route that I was taking, there was no way that you were going to go that way early. And with all these uh-oh. Well, we have a lamp and 2 swords. You know what that means.
And now Aga is in logic.
It is. But that doesn't really open up much for us right now. I think it gets us to Pyramid Ledge, and it gets us to Pod and Catfish, and I think that's it. So now that I have an E-Tank now that I have an energy tank, these two, I can do these couple dangerous rooms. I do want to get up to above 160 health, though.
Did you pick up Moon Pearl and I didn't see it?
Oh yeah, you're right. We are still missing Moon Pearl. Yeah, we are still missing Moon Pearl as well. This seed has been kind of slow to get started. Okay, now we have enough health for this. Now we have enough health for this room. So this next room coming up is really, really scary.
It's called the Mission Impossible room. There is a jump you can do. There is a technique you can do that you can jump down, get the item, and jump right back up through the crumble block. It is extremely finicky, really hard to pull off, very technical. Most people just do what you saw Raikou do there, which is go through, get it, and go out the intended way. And that screw attack, I'm sure Raikou is very happy to see.
Oh yeah, I'm super happy to see that. That's going to help out a lot for the next couple rooms, actually. In particular, the wave beam room. If I can line this up, there's a lot of different ways to do what's called Spore Spawn Skip here. If you want to explain Spore Spawn Skip a little bit more, go right ahead.
Yeah, the game does not intend you to have supers until after you defeat a mini boss called Spore Spawn. Nowadays, Spore Spawn just kind of sits there in his little cave and waits for the phone to ring because everybody uses that Spore Spawn Skip. It's basically a camera manipulation. You open up the tunnel that leads to that super missile shot block, which is normally the way you would escape this area. And if you position yourself just right with a jump and shoot, you actually make contact with that block with the super. It's the same principle that you use to do the wave beam room when you don't have wave beam. That is actually not in logic in the normal logic here. It's logically, it requires wave beam. What you're going to see Raikou do is do a 1 pixel jump over and shoot, and that, there it is, that super missile will make the gate raise.
You're supposed to have wave beam to obtain that item. And I believe that current hard expects high jump for that, I want to say.
Yeah, it's only in logic if you have high jump. Also, interestingly enough, you can see other places where you can do what's called the green gate glitch, which is where you shoot missiles and supers through those gates. Missiles, you can use missiles on the blue ones, but it takes supers for the green ones. That is the only one that's doable from the left side. All of the others, you have to do it from the right, or it's impossible.
So now this room is called the Waterway. If you don't find Speed Booster early, this location tends to get forgotten about as well. Finding a lot of heart containers, which I'm okay with, because we don't have a lot of health in Zelda yet. But now I think we have 7 hearts, which is a good amount. So I think from here what I'm going to do is go to Kraid and then head back to Zelda to try to fish for to do a couple more things out there and try to fish for some more energy tanks, because I get the feeling that this seed wants me to do Phantoon early, and I want to have as much energy as possible before fighting Phantoon, or preferably that Varia suit. Because Phantoon with very low health is no fun.
No, those flames do a ton of damage when you have no suit. And even with the one E-Tank, that is a dicey fight.
They do, without a suit, they do 40 damage.
I think contact with Phantoon himself does what, 80?
40. Everything in that fight does 40. It's still...
Unless you get hit with something called a Sunrise Surprise.
Oh yeah, Sunrise Surprise. That does 320 with no suit. Which is
where Phantoon opens up right on top of you, so you get hit by Phantoon and the entire circle of flames all at once.
Oh wait, if Phantoon hits you as well, then that would do 360. But it's a moot point when we have this little amount of health.
Exactly. For the time being, it's instant death is what it is. And the save spot in Wrecked Ship is not open until after you defeat Phantoon.
Correct. So every time you... And the closest save point that is active is your ship. And that's quite a trip. It'll be made a little bit easier if I have to fight Phantoon because I have Screw Attack. But it's not that much easier.
The Surprise has killed several runners at several GDQs.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the things that makes the Phantoon fight super terrifying. But for now, we'll have a much easier boss, Kraid. And with Charge Beam, this shouldn't be too hard.
You're going to see Raikou come up to do a trick called the Kraid Quick Kill. Because Kraid is a terrible dancer, but still wants to go to prom.
And he better not go to prom, because I also have Charge Beam.
Now, there's two methods to do it. The charge method is one I myself use, because using the charge beam, when you shoot, it locks Kraid's arm down, so it doesn't get in the way of your missile and super shots. The other way is just to use missiles and super.
We did not take Kraid to prom. Also, I'm on the board!
Very nicely done, Raikou.
Thank you, Kraid! I am very okay finding that. Now, I'm still not really comfortable going to Phantoon like this, but it's somewhat grokkable now? Question mark?
It's better than the one. We know that.
Not by much. Like, if I were to go to Phantoon on 2 E-Tanks, I would probably still die a couple times.
Do we have time for a quick donation?
Perfect. Perfect. Nothing going on right now.
Alright, we have a $50 donation from Anonymous that says, "Save the Animals isn't out of reach just yet. Let's climb back, y'all."
Thank you very much for your very generous donation. That's a tempered sword.
It's a weapon upgrade.
That's a very good weapon upgrade. So I think the plan from here is since I have a glove, I'm gonna go clear out the castle and see if we can't find another energy tank. If we find another energy tank or gravity or mirror, anything that makes this Phantoon fight easier, I'm just gonna beeline straight for Wreckship, because I think that's where the seed is telling me to go. But for now, I want to really see if I can find one more energy tank first. And that's another really important thing that you have to understand about playing one of these, is you have to find your comfort level. Some runners might be comfortable with going to Phantoon with just one energy tank. Because if you try to bite off more than you can chew, and you just throw yourself at something that is out of your league multiple times, that's how you're going to lose races. Say, I would rather take the time to look for more resources than go into Phantoon with one energy tank and die 4 or 5 times. There's our Merle.
Yeah, with your current item set, it would take at least a mid-range runner skill probably to avoid being killed by Phantoon, because you have that screw attack and you have plenty of missiles.
And I will admit that my Super Metroid skill is not the greatest. It's good enough to play these, but you just have to do your routing decisions need to be guided by what you're comfortable with. It's as simple as that. So now that I have the back of the cap, well, I guess it does. Let me take a look and see what agate would open up. It would open up just Pyramid, Ledge Pod, and Catfish. That's not enough for me. I think once a hook shot or like if a hook shot shows up, then I'll do it. But that's not enough access to justify going 4.5 minutes out of the way. At least I don't think so.
Not with what you still have left that you can do other places.
Exactly.
And Patience Guide, I see the stream doing a little bit more. Maybe it'll stabilize out.
So now there will be... I believe there should still be a couple more items down here if I've done my math correctly. Because we have maps, so there should be 2 items down here. I just can't stress how important it is counting items in dungeons. Bingo! Bingo. Now I should be fine. Especially with Screw Attack, I should be fine. So that's the 3rd energy tank I was looking for.
Okay, I commented and cursed myself. I'm sorry.
So now 3 tanks should be more than enough to... Oh, hey, there's the Arrow of Destiny, as we like to call it.
Go mode.
Clearly, if you find the Arrow of Destiny, it means instant go mode. Clearly. So the Arrow of Destiny is named that way because there's only one item. There's only one of the 316 items that is a single arrow. It's kind of a community joke.
Kind of like Greg. Now, honestly, finding that 3rd E-Tank for Raikou was pretty huge. For one thing, with Various Suit, once you get Various Suit, 3 E-Tanks is technically all you need to complete Super Metroid completely. But it does offer a comfort level.
Oh, right.
With having that Screw Attack.
Right, I need to actually do this differently, because my way over here is speed. So this is another location where a short charge is not required, but it's very helpful. So now, there's also another short charge I could do over the moat, but given the health situation right now, I don't think doing that charge over the moat is a very good idea. I'll take those. Super missiles are one of those items you don't get tired of seeing. They're always useful.
Especially with having nothing but charge beam, it's a great thing to have, but charge in of itself is not really effective on a lot of the bosses and creatures that Raikou's going to be running up on. It would not hurt his feelings at all to come across a beam in Super Metroid. Right
oh no. Contrary to popular belief, you don't actually need the grapple beam to cross into the wreck ship. Grapple beam is just one of the ways to get across the moat, as we like to call it. Alright. Alright, hey, Fanny, can you please be nice to me? Like, the damage in that fight adds up so fast.
It can get away from you. It really can. And like I was saying, there are no save spots between the ship and Phantom. So you take a death here, you have to go do this all over again.
Correct. And given how many items are left, it's pretty likely that what we need to progress is behind Phantom. So there's something like 9 items behind Phantom, but I'm not going to be able to talk too much during this fight.
Now, Phantom is the most random boss in Super Metroid. He has patterns that you can learn.
I'm just gonna... Yeah, I was trying to get another missile in, but I just can't risk him disappearing on me.
Yeah, he makes his big entrance, and you have a fast, a mid, and a slow pattern. That, his first iteration here was a slow pattern. Right slow.
Since I have Screw Attack, I might actually, like, intentionally rage him twice, just to be able to get through the fight.
Yeah, Phantoon is weak to super missiles, but they do 600 damage to him, but using one on him will put him in his rage phase. You can use that Screw Attack to just jump right through those flames and get no damage done to you.
You can also use Charge Beam as well.
With Charge Beam, yes, you can do something called a pseudo screw, which has the same properties as having a Screw Attack. Unless you're pseudo screwing in certain enemies, which will damage you.
Got him. Okay. Now the rage phase does last 18 seconds, but in this case, I would rather just have the fight. Just make sure I can get through the fight. That's the big thing, is getting through that fight with this energy situation. We're still not out of the woods yet, either. Wreckship has a lot of dangerous rooms still, and the vanilla game actually expects you to have Varia suit before coming here. And way more health than I have now, so there are going to be some really dangerous rooms coming up. Including a room that we like to call the Spiky Room of Death. You will know it when you see it.
We call it the Spiky Room of Death because it's a nice, casual, easy room to zip through.
If only it were so.
No matter if you're running Super Metroid, no matter which one you're running, any percent or hundo, Spiky Room of Death is a death trap. You skip it in any percent, but in hundo, your greatest chance of dying is in that room.
I think you only have 4 tanks for that room too. Well, since I don't have suits yet, I'm gonna go ahead and just pick this up. Yes, I know it's a trash can, and we don't like trash cans, but given the energy situation, I don't think it's a bad pickup.
Somewhere out there, MST is saying, I'd have died. I'd rather die. Don't listen to him.
Oh, MST. Yeah, shoutouts to Metroid MST. He does a lot of Super Metroid ROM hack stuff, and he's a lot of fun to watch. Oh, right, you have to do this room. This room is silly with Speed Booster, because you have to get on the edge of this. It's actually been a while since I've been in here with just Speed Booster before.
Typical technique for doing that room is going ahead and opening the door and starting your run from the outside. If you start your run before you go into the water, it will still give you your speed echoes. Runners use that to allow them to jump up on the other side.
So this is Spiky Room of Death, where I was just in. So those spike platforms, if you get caught on the underside of those without a suit, they do 200 damage. Yeah, 200 damage.
Just ouchie.
That's 2 E-tanks gone. Okay, now this jump I need to be a little careful about. Nothing there. That's why we saved. Because you do not want to have to go back across that room.
In game, that's called a tactical reset.
You'll see that a lot in Meridia as well.
And it's another example of how knowing how the game works and where you can do that is something you kind of keep in mind and use to your advantage in your routing.
Oh, did I mention?
I believe Raikou mentioned one time before about routing around your resets if you can.
Did
and it can really save you time.
Did I mention I'm also super happy to have Screw Attack for this reason?
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
guys,
Attic is like
sorry,
crap.
really quick, we're gonna have to pause it again. But this time we think we found the issue, and we're gonna have a permanent fix.
Hang on, let me.
And he will not be shine sparking up to get that. I'm going to hazard a guess. One final comment: those of you that prefer kettle chips over regular chips, location. I respect your opinion. That's because it's a lot easier to do this. And he will not be shine sparking up to get that. I'm going to hazard a guess. One final comment: those of you that prefer kettle chips over regular chips, I respect your opinion, wrong as it may be. Go ahead, Raikou.
Really quick, sorry, we are. Did we get sound back, Quill? It looks like we got our sound back. All right, now we're good. All right, take it away, fellas.
Yeah, unfortunately, because of the energy situation, I'm gonna have to kind of take the scenic route with these guys, which is really, really irritating. I would love to Shine Spark up and get that item, but the health situation is not good.
Had high jump boots, which are on Lake Hialeah Island, this would be a lot easier. It's not really easy to get up on these platforms this way.
Oh no.
As a matter of fact, you pretty much have to wall jump off of them back up onto.
And they're only, I think they're only a couple pixels thick too.
Now there is another technique he could use where he could bomb jump up from one of the ledges on the left.
Oh no! I'm gonna have to Shine Spark and then do a Crystal Flash afterward. That's the only way this is happening. And then I missed it, of course. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a Crystal Flash afterward. Sorry, guys. There we go. Okay. I was really hoping that item wasn't required.
Unfortunately, Kane of Samaria has a pretty high probability of being required.
Yeah, I think what I'm gonna have to do with this health situation is I'm gonna have to that door locks behind me though, doesn't it?
Yes. Well, once you go into
that room, yeah.
That room, but you can farm the pancake room. No, the pancake room doesn't lock behind you.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to remember which door it was locked behind me, because it's pretty rare to be in like a health situation such as this.
No, it locks when you enter bowling itself.
So what I'm looking to do is get up to about 250 health. Or enough ammo to Crystal Flash. Because I think the pancakes do, what, 120?
Something like that. Something like that.
80.
And of course, because he's looking for health, he's getting all the ammo he'll ever need. If he were looking for ammo, it would be giving him health.
So I think I'm actually gonna just take damage to get under 50 health here, and then Crystal Flash. I think that's gonna be faster than farming. So ready to see that classic Mega Man?
Now this technique that he's doing called the Crystal Flash, you have to be under 49 health, and that includes your reserves. But it will completely fill his E-tanks and his reserves. at the cost of 10 missiles, 10 supers, and 11 power bombs.
Which is really, really important for this room because these spikes do 60 damage. Alright, time to go bowling.
Actually,
gentlemen, we have no more stream, so we're gonna have to pause one more time, and we're gonna pause the run one more time and kick it back over to intermission.
Okay.
I'm gonna pause my timer when I'm out of bowling. Really, 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 Internet, you had to pick today to do this?
On every life, a little rain must fall, my mother always used to say.
Am I live?
I believe we are all live right now.
On stream. They can hear me on stream?
Yes, I believe so.
Then I won't say what I was about to say.
Alright, now we're back. Let me make sure we have sound really quick. Alright, we got sound. Really sorry for all the delays. You guys can pick it up when you're ready.
Alright, we will go in 3, 2, 1, restart.
Thanks for hanging with us, guys. Sorry about that. Yeah, I was going to say a naughty thing, but we'll talk about that later. Take it away, Raikou.
The only thing you missed was the bowling cutscene, which is a nice break. That's about all it is, really. Anything back here? Nope. So this wreck ship... Is there even anything of note back here?
Red cane.
Red cane, yeah. Red cane. Which, it doesn't mean anything in the immediate term.
But it means he would not be able to go mode a wreck ship. Ideally, what you want to be able to do is be in go mode before you ever come over here. So you can just come in, kill Phantoon, and leave.
That's one way to approach wreck ship. But wreck ship also has a ton of items. So it can oftentimes it's just too much of a honeypot to avoid.
And yeah, Leslie, that's a good point. Plasma, while not a requirement, when combined with charge and that X-ray that Raikou has, that's actually pretty handy.
Oh, right. I forgot to say that. Armor suit upgrade acquired. Microwave beam online. So you're going to see some fireworks when we get to Dragon. So now that I have enough energy and just stuff to do these rooms, I'm going to go ahead and just do Gauntlet and Criteria Powerbomb.
Now, these have actually been in logic, at least Criteria Powerbombs has, since Raikou got those bombs, because Canfly put it in logic. I believe it requires at least one E-Tank for Gauntlet to be in logic.
2. The front item is in logic with 1. The back items are in logic with 2. And I haven't seen what those items are yet because I haven't had Morph Ball to go check them. The 2 items in the back of Gauntlet, you can see what they are if you take the Gauntlet exit.
That would be microwave shrimp. Fried shrimp is when you use the grapple beam. And if you just use ammo, a good friend of mine named that battered shrimp.
That's a good name for it.
Shout out to Wesker.
Yes, Wesker is a long-time community member for SMZ3. Also, I don't know why I'm... this is why I don't like Gauntlet with low health. Because that acid's no joke when you don't have suits. Oh, look at that! Gold gloves! That's Dark World access.
So Raikou's decision to not do AGA getting validated here. And the really crappy thing is that acid comes up on you even when you're standing on that post. But if you jump too high, then the spikes get you.
Yeah, you have to be very, very careful in that room. We take those. I'm also going to grab this 300 primarily for potion money. Like, people who do runs of this at like high levels don't value just the safety of a potion. Because even having a potion in your back pocket can change how you play the game. So now that we have Dark World access, I'm going to head back to Zelda, and I don't really see myself going back to Metroid for quite some time. So where are we going to head? I think we're going to head to CAC. I think we're going to head to CAC and go do just your basic Dark World stuff, as well as get Dark World intelligence. You can't ever feel good about getting Dark World access this late, though. We're just under 70 minutes in, and we just got our Dark World access.
Yeah, in a race setup, you would start to feel pretty behind at this point.
Considering the runners at the very top tend to finish seeds around the 3-hour mark. Oh, I should turn in Sick Kid while I'm here, because I have a bottle. I almost forgot about that. So there's this guy in this house that normally gives you the bug catching net. You have to have a bottle to obtain this item. Ammo's fine, we take that right now. So this lack of mirror is going to lead to some really awkward routing later.
Ammo's fine. You'll see Raikou pick up supers. He has a philosophy, I believe, that he just keeps picking them up till he's at like, what, 50, 60? Something like that?
Well, with Charge Beam, it's not as important, but... Oh, would you look at those pendants?
Wow. So Mire and Turtle Rock are our other two pendants.
That means we don't got to worry about medallions at all. Hopefully not. Because there could still be a required... it could still be required for us to go in if there's something that we need to finish the game. So remember what you said about Kena Samaria?
Yes.
We might not need that.
Yeah, the only other condition would be a right side big key in GT.
Correct. That's why I said we might not need that.
Now, some people prefer to avoid Thieves Town when they do not have the hammer yet because of, the one chest. I personally feel like in this situation, Raikou is 100% correct and going ahead and doing Thieves Town. There is a chance that you might not even get the small key, that it may be locked in the big chest. There's a chance that it may be a dungeon item in there. So, I have skipped it before and been burned because hammer was in the back.
Yep. Everybody's been burned by this. I need to find a bunny beam someplace, or I'm gonna die. And this is why Dark World dungeons can be really dangerous in Green Mail, because the enemies in these dungeons do so much damage. So I'm actually going to grab that heart now, instead of before the boss fight. If I die... Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
If I die to blind, hang on. Just need to make sure I get this thing powdered. That's why powder is the best safety item in the game. You can turn those anti-fairies into fairies, and and then you can just fill your hearts right up. And in these Dark World dungeons, those are all over the place.
Definitely a huge advantage to having powder.
Even doing something as simple as climbing Ganon's tower without powder can be nerve-wracking, because you have no easy way to fill your health.
Oh, because Ganon's tower has that nice double anti-fairy fill up there right before Moldorm 2.
Not even that, but just in general.
Well, thus far, not wanting to jinx it, but Raikou not finding that small key, which is a good sign.
I think there's only one other chest it can be in. And that's the chest by blind. Because the small key cannot be on the boss.
Yeah, it is possible to soft lock yourself with a small key where available on the boss.
Correct.
So it will never be there.
Correct.
Also, by virtue of having that glove, Raikou doesn't have to go the long way around on those little conveyor belts.
That only requires one glove to lift. Okay. Okay. We live in. That small key is locked away in that big chest where it belongs.
Just as a side note, those two pots on the side that Raikou didn't do anything, the farthest back pot to the left, there is an anti-fairy under there, which you can powder.
Correct.
And then pick up the closest pot to the front, will have a small magic and refill your magic. So, Thieves Town does have a lot of opportunities to refill your health if you have the powder.
So my strategy for this part of the fight is going to be to stay as far away from blind as possible and use sword beams until I take damage. Because having a ranged attack that can hit blind makes this fight so much easier. And she's down.
Nice job, Raikou. He also, you can also use the red cane of Samaria, to lay some blocks, which will damage blind. That is a strat that some people also use in conjunction with the sword.
Especially if you're swordless. But we have three swords, so we're fine. We did do...
Blind, of course, being an odd boss in that it does not matter which type of sword you have. Fighter to butter, it still takes 3 swipes.
Yeah, 3 per phase.
To kill him. Yeah, 3 per phase to kill him.
I think it's the only boss in the game that's like that. Oh, Leslie, don't even remind me of required hammer blind seeds. Just no, please. I've had to do it once. It's no fun. Hammer is also another thing I'm starting to get a little bit worried about.
When you get into doing things like inverted seeds and all that, then hammer blind becomes a lot more common.
It does. It does. That's for context. Just for context, inverted mode is a mode of the standalone A Link to the Past randomizer, where you start out in the Dark World instead of the Light World.
Now, this is the digging game. The prize is randomized. You're guaranteed to get it within 30 digs or less.
Correct. It's anywhere between 1 and 30.
Yeah, Nimi, before they corrected it, see, the spikes in Mothia's Lair do damage equivalent to Butter Sword. And if you knock Mothia on the spikes, he takes no damage. So what they did is they just made Mothula immune to a hit with that level of damage, which basically nullified the Butter Sword.
So now we get to take the frog on the world tour. Having to do this without mirrors, it can be really aggravating. And having to navigate Dark World in general without mirror can be very aggravating, because your only way out is going to be by doing a save and quit. And if you save and the save and quit will put you back in the Light World.
And unless you've done Aga, your only starting point without that hammer for Raikou right now is going to be Kakariko. Now, he does have some other options once he gains access to Meridia and Lower Norfair. Meridia especially.
Those are some of my favorite kinds of seeds, are Dark World access through Meridia. I know a lot of people don't like them, but I like those kinds of seeds. No progression, but change of clothes is something we will take.
I was going to say, he's happy to see that blue mail, folks.
We have a decent amount of hearts, but nothing to write home about.
Now, interesting thing about that frog, he will
right.
follow you just about.
Right, I have to go around.
He will swim with you. And Raikou does not have hammer, so he has to swim around now. This is where Mirror would be handy, because he could pick up that item on Lake Hylia Island, which happens to be high jump boots, which he would love to have right now, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, high jump boots might be my favorite Super Metroid item. There's a very good reason I like to call this Randomizer High Jump Appreciation Simulator. Oh, I can't do this, that's right. Wow. I'm gonna have to do this with, like, North Dark World. I don't know about you.
Follow you into a dungeon.
That's not the issue. The issue is I have a follower already, so Kiki won't be able to open the dungeon for me. That's the issue.
Correct. Oh, yeah, that's right. I didn't even think of that. For the same reason you can't have the frog and do the pyramid fairy at the same time.
Correct. I don't know about you. I'm really starting to get a sneaking suspicion about Pod. Like there might be a hammer in there. Like a hammer or something that leads to hammer. Because we're kind of running out of locations for this progression to be.
They basically covered what's in Super Metroid, I believe.
There is one location I haven't been. I haven't been to Red Tower yet.
You did find Grapple, which also puts X-Ray in logic.
Oh, it does. That would be so annoying if it was there. Like, realistically, how do you route that? But sometimes that's just what this rando does, is it makes you do things that make no sense whatsoever.
Yes, Nemi, you're absolutely right. Don't know what you got till it's gone. Try doing the whole Super Metroid game without high jump boots and see what you think.
Oh, even fighting Ridley without high jump boots is awful. I think that's the single biggest place where high jump boots make a difference is the Ridley fight. It becomes way easier to dodge Ridley if you have high jump.
It makes a bit of difference in Meridia and Upper and Norfair as well, because of what you're able to do. Now, I mean, logically, no. If you were to find Flute right now, you would have logical access to Lower Norfair in conjunction with the Varia suit.
Oh boy. Help. Just help.
They wanted mushroom to be required. I believe that was that $50 donation.
Well, no, it's just also one of my regulars, shoutouts to Cerebron, has a fixation with this mushroom for whatever reason. And also, just for whatever reason, people like seeing fetch quest items, like fetch quest items behind fetch quests. And now I'm kind of thinking about taking a dip in here now, because we haven't seen too much. There's a lot of Skullwoods that is available as soon as you have Dark World access.
Because technically you don't need a lot of items to check the front of Skullwoods. Having that tempered sword and that red cane is going to make it a lot easier on Raikou. The red cane in particular for the room where you have to push the statue, or you're supposed to.
Oh, that room's awful. That room is just awful without red cane. I'm actually one to skip that room if I don't have red cane. I don't like all these small keys I'm finding, I'll tell you that much.
Because that indicates a backloaded.
It does. It does. And the back of Skullwoods requires Fire Rod to get to, which I don't have.
This seed is what you would call somewhat linear, meaning your progression is laid out in kind of a straight line. You have to go from item A to item B, next and next, and all the checks you do in between don't really help you out that much at all.
I'm also starting to get very, very worried about a couple of things. Okay, that's one item. That's one item, so it's not a complete blank. But the big key is also in the back.
Possibly in the chest.
Could be, yeah. What was I gonna say? Skullwoods is one of 2 dungeons in the game where the big key can actually be stashed in the big chest. There's other things that are really starting to worry me too, because since we have that Titan's Mitt and that Bombos medallion, we actually have partial access to Ice Palace.
Hammer in ice is one of the trollier things that can happen to you.
Oh, absolutely.
One of these seeds, because nobody really wants to go into Ice Palace without hammer. You do not want to go in there without being able to full clear.
I'm thinking about it, believe it or not. I'm actually thinking about going in there.
No, I don't really blame you, man.
The fact that Bombos has shown up this early. Well, Bombos and Titan's Mitts have both shown up this early. I just can't shake the feeling. Plus, I have the glitch cane, so it won't be quite as bad.
And the other part of this that makes it a little rough on Raikou is he's missing some really good movement items for A Link to the Past. He doesn't have boots. He doesn't have flute. All of these checks that he's doing are walks. Typically, like right now, he doesn't have the mirror, so he'll have to save and quit to turn in that purple chest.
Wait, do I have anything else I'm doing over here? Why am I walking this chest, actually?
I was trying to say that without actually saying that.
Yeah, I was like, wait, why am I walking the chest over?
Yeah, he doesn't have hook shot, which limits his mobility. It's cut off all of East Death Mountain to him.
Yeah, because this is just as soon as I find that hook shot, that's probably the next place I'm gonna go.
Then he has that mushroom to turn in, which is a walk all the way up to Witch's Hut.
I think I can use the whirlpool over by Ice Rod Cave, actually, because I'm gonna go there after I check this.
Yeah, another meme would be mirror in purple chest, which that didn't happen. And now Raikou is going to, and this is what really gets you. These checks that he was about to do, which is the Agena Cave and the Ice Rod Cave, were available right at the beginning. But they're so out of the way in the beginning. A lot you go for your volume, but sometimes there's something in there that can hang you.
As I like to call this guy, Dirty Agina. Yeah, Dirty Agina. I call this guy Dirty Agina for a reason. This is how I this is how I feel about this old man. And of course he doesn't have nothing. The problem is I need to stay on land for this because I'm going to do that Ice Rod Cave check now. The one that I died in, and I'm going to feel real bad if there's something like a hammer or a hook shot in there. Because I died in front of that cave because of those crabs. But we're starting to get down to the nitty-gritty in terms of what's available. And you'll get into these situations with overly linear seeds, such as this one, where it seems like no matter what path you try to take, the seed just doesn't route.
Now, Raikou does have some other options. He has that bow, so the green pendant is available to him. He has access to most of Pod. He cannot complete it because he does not have the hammer, but he can check everything in there except the boss. The mirror would make it easier because when you go right side with the bow and you don't have hammer or mirror, you either have to death warp out or walk all the way back up, and that's just slow.
Death warping is not good right now, given the number of hearts I have.
Anybody got any guesses?
Alright, what's in here? Okay, good, just ammo. So now... This is such a hard call.
An argument to be made for either way Raikou goes. There's an argument for going ahead and jumping in and doing Ice Palace now. There's an argument for going up and turning in the mushroom, coming down and knocking out Eastern and Pod together. It's just really a follow your gut type of situation right now.
I think I'm gonna just turn in this. I'm gonna turn in this mushroom now.
The higher volume is the Pod Eastern deal.
The problem is I can't get to Pod easily.
Well, that's right. I'm assuming you can. That's right. You would have to start all the way over
from CAC. Yeah, that's actually one of the reasons why I'm thinking about ice. But just this mushroom. I mean, that's not nothing, but still. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go to ice.
A little surprised Raikou didn't take the opportunity to fill up a bottle with some potion there, since he was headed to Ice Palace.
I have half magic, I'll be fine. If I didn't have half magic, then I would absolutely get a blue potion. These are some of my least favorite types of seeds, where it's just pick an arbitrary dungeon you can't complete. Because that's most of what's left.
Now, Ice Palace, before the advent of what you call Icebreaker, was a dungeon that most people sought to avoid as long as possible. But there's a trick called Icebreaker that allows you to get through it a lot more easily.
You're gonna see that. It's really cool. And it was only just discovered recently, I want to say within the last year.
One problem with that in this situation is because Raikou does not have the hammer, he cannot count on the one small key he would need to transition sides that's underneath the block he has to pick up, because he has to hammer down some pegs to get to it. And no. So, if he performs the icebreaker trick and goes that way, he can be stopped at the chest where he has the hook shot to.
I mean, at the very least, it gets me an extra check.
Yeah, this chest is, these two chests. Well, no, this chest.
Yeah, that's the only one that I can check out of logic. Because normally there's a small key underneath that block that you're supposed to be able to grab, but I don't have the hammer. Although I guess I can check this one too. That's an item. I think I'm actually stuck.
Yeah, that you cannot go any further here.
I think I have to go the regular way to get anything else.
This is a case where he will use that death warp because saving and quitting is not an option. He'll have to start back over.
I think at this point I'm committed. Yeah, I'm gonna have
time
to.
you'll see him do a more. Well, you can't complete it, so you're not even going to bother with the IP bomb jump, are you?
There's more checks I can get to down there, I believe.
Oh, yes, but what I'm saying is, well, I guess you could, in case you find a hammer in here, you could go ahead and complete the dungeon.
Well, I'm going to be opening all the chests anyway, so why bother? Because I'm going to find the big key. And I have the Cane of Samaria as well, so I don't need to do the block puzzle at least.
Yes, if you come in here without Cane of Samaria, the Ice Palace bomb jump is required if you don't do Icebreaker. Because you have to be able to push that block down if you don't have Cane of Samaria. Cane of Samaria is what you use to put the block on top of the switch.
And you can't do Icebreaker without Cane of Samaria anyway. That's how you create the block that pushes you through the... That's how you create the block that pushes you through the wall. Don't mind my muscle memory. And this is one of those roll the dice situations you were talking about, where you just have to pick a dungeon. I tell you what, though, if Hammer winds up being in that red tower, I forgot to check, that's going to be so embarrassing. Because I found all that stuff in Wreck Ship and just wanted to go straight to Zelda. Because I wasn't planning on heading down that way, but X-ray is over there too. I think Iced Tea is the only chest that's left.
Well, that's it. Now watch the big key be an Iced Tea, Jeff.
I mean, it very well could be. I think the only other place it could be is Hammer locked upstairs.
Yeah, that's it. Logically, the big
that's all the items. That's all the items. There was nothing in here. Alright, actually, you know what? I'm gonna go do that red tower now.
This is an example of using your reset to your advantage. Because Raikou does a save and quit, and then he can do a reset, which puts him right there at the ship, right by the way down to Red Tower. And as he mentioned, X-ray is right below there. So it's probably the most efficient way to do what he's doing now.
Now, if progression is on X-ray, I won't be so upset, but if progression is at Red Tower, I'm not going to be very happy, because this should have been checked after I did Wreck Ship. And this sort of situation is living proof that execution mistakes cost seconds, routing mistakes cost minutes. And this is why I stress to people that knowing how to route is super, super important if you want to be successful in tournaments.
I'm sorry, Nimmy, but Mushroom was Spring Ball.
Okay, nothing yet. I mean, if Hammer's in pod, then the seed is just trolly. It just becomes a question of who goes to Palace of Darkness first. Mirror would also be nice to find. We will take those, though.
The silver arrows.
Oh, don't get file plumed. Yeah, we'll take silvers. So now we have both bow and silvers, so the bosses for the rest of Zelda are going to be a joke. So if we want to talk about damage tables in Zelda, against most enemies, Tempered Sword does 4 damage, Gold Sword does 8 damage, Silver Arrows do 100 damage. They kill everything in one hit except for Vitreous and Ganon. So we'll see if this grapple beam leads to it. If not, I'm just gonna probably end up betting on pod.
While Raiku's grappling over, just want to say again, thanks for joining us here. SpeedDocs 2020 to benefit St. Jude's. We really appreciate all your donations.
I guess we're getting those.
And all they got there was some supers. I believe logically that leaves nothing in Super Metroid.
Correct. Oh wait, no, there is one other item.
Is it that item at the bottom of Bubble Mountain?
No, that item's not in logic without Varia. You're thinking of SMR in standalone Super Metroid Randomizer. That location, if you're talking about Bubble Mountain Missile, in standalone Super Metroid Randomizer, that location is in logic without Varia, but in a Combo Randomizer, it is not. The location I'm thinking of is Crateria Shaft, which is probably what I'm going to go do next. I'm transitioning here because it's going to be faster for me to get to my. It's going to be faster for me to transition and reset to my ship than it is to walk all the way back. This is one trolley seed, I'll tell you that. Yeah, green pendant's a thing too. After I do Crateria Shaft, that's my next play is green pendant. It's nice and quick. But I want to be done with Metroid, simply because once I find the thing, I'm probably not going to be in Metroid for a while. Unless that thing is Mirror. And like I was alluding to before with Criteria Shaft, when you're down to single checks, this check is actually pretty good equity. Because this doesn't take that long.
It's a quick check, and with the item set that Raikou has, it's absolutely no problem to do it.
Because I can destroy the Boyons with 3 power bombs, and then just Shine Spark up there. It's not that hard. And this Criteria Shaft location, this can get people too. Oh, I missed one of them. Not here. Alright, it's in Eastern or Pod. That's it. That's only places it can be.
Yeah, that's a wrap for Metroid for right now.
Until we get Mirror. Until we find Gravity Suit or find Mirror. Jumped a little too early there.
Figured you would get a trolley one.
I mean, this still isn't the worst seed I've had in a marathon. So one thing I've noticed about all the times I've run this for events, and I should actually pick those up because I'm low on bombs. One thing I've noticed about running this at events is either I get really good seeds and upset the crew for being 45 minutes underestimate, or I start to go overestimate and then this happens. It's one of the two. We can't ever get a seed that's a nice normal amount of time.
Now, this is where Raikou's play to go ahead and get that big key. Turns out to be convenient. It does save just a little bit of time there.
That's the reason, yes. It was just a matter of foresight getting that key. And foresight is a good skill to have in any item-based randomizer, but you don't want to crutch on your foresight too much, because if you look too far ahead, that's also going to get you in trouble. Also, how long ago did I say that I had a sneaking suspicion about Palace of Darkness having progression, and I just didn't listen?
It was a good little while back.
I still don't think Palace of Darkness was the right play at the time. Oh right, that's gonna have nothing.
Do we have a quick moment for an update on the killer save bid war?
Absolutely, especially just anytime until we find progression, basically.
Sure. So right now, as it stands, we are going to kill the animals. The animals are going to die at $234 versus saving them, which is at $131. So we still have time if you want to get those donations in. You can save the animals. And help save the children, too. There you go. 2 for 1.
Or you can make sure the animals die.
And you can save the
and
frames.
You can still help save the children. It's win-win.
I like your style, so.
I also like having silvers for the back half of this dungeon, because these Armos Knights, they're going to go away real quick. Alright, so there's our green pendant. So then we'll get one more check out of that. Wait a second, what's our other 5-6? Oh, it's Hera, I just didn't mark it.
Now, what's the trolliest thing this could be? Flute? Flute. Yeah.
Or it's just nothing, and the answer's in pod. Yeah, it's just nothing. Yeah, it's in Palace of Darkness. Watch it not even be Hammer.
That's what I was saying. Flute would be about the trolliest, because then the only thing that'd be in logic is
like what, GT?
That's
the top of like getting into Norfair from GT's room with. Oh right, because I have bombs.
You don't have Varia though. I'm thinking Mire Shed and Pendant Mire, if it's Bombos locked, is then in logic because you have everything you need
to finish it.
To complete Mire.
Yeah, that would actually make a ton of sense. But there's got to be something in this Palace of Darkness. What is going on here?
I'm going to guess and say ideally Raikou wants to find either the hammer, or if it's a Super Metroid, or maybe the mirror.
Yeah,
because
hammer or mirror.
Use a block of Super Metroid for him.
Probably hammer, actually, because then I don't have to worry about going back and finishing the dungeon. If it's anything other than mirror or hammer, that's just bad.
I'll point out though that really all hammer does, you've gotten all of the items out of ice. It lets you complete pod. It lets you do hammer pegs. That's about it, isn't it?
Oh, you know what hammer would also do? It would also let me finish ice, but I think we have all the items out of ice, so that won't actually do anything. Hammer. I wouldn't be surprised if it's mirror, and it just wants you to double dip. I think mirror makes the most sense here. Gravity and mirror are the two items that make the most sense.
Oh wait, hammer would also put Spike Cave in logic.
Even better, even better. Just go to that out of the way place.
Why change up now? You had to go to all the rest stuff. This is a great example of how these seeds can go, though. They can really run you back and forth.
They can go horribly wrong. Although it's usually not this bad. Okay, now Palace of Darkness compared to other dungeons. This is one that it's very, very important to keep track of your items. Because the key logic for this dungeon is incredibly complex, but if you know how it works, you can take advantage of it. There's just a lot to keep track of with this dungeon. There are a lot of different ways to route this if you actually have all the stuff, but because we're missing hammer and mirror, there's really only one good way to go through this place. And this room is the reason why you need the bow to be able to progress past here, because those red mimics only can be damaged with the bow.
There's a trick you can do called the bottle glitch that will make that door open, but that would mean that this right side would be out of logic.
There's the big key. Small key. Now, because we don't have a hammer, we are going to have to take a death warp, and the best way to take a death warp right now is going to be off of the spike. Because these spikes will do 1 heart of damage regardless of your defense. And this is just a quick way to get back to the beginning of the dungeon. Now, if we had Mirror, then we would be able to just warp to the beginning of the dungeon whenever we wanted.
Doing pod without boots or mirror is just...
It's the pits. So that's 3 keys in the front. There's a pretty high probability that this chest coming up here is a small key, but I think I need to be thorough in this case. Like, there's a very high probability that this is a key.
But
it wasn't a key, so that means this chest has to be a key. Oh wait, no, it doesn't have to be. Like, that didn't have to be because we don't have... Okay, so I'll try to explain this nuance of the logic as much as possible. Because there are... because we don't have hammer, bow, and lamp available, it is possible that there are only 3 small keys in the front of this dungeon. So that chest did not necessarily have to be a small key. It's possible that it still is.
But now Raikou is guaranteed access to the back and to all the items that are back here.
And there are going to be a lot back here. There's 5 items in this dungeon in total.
Bumping up the ammo count there. Those turtles can be aggravating without hammer.
Well, you can't do anything to them without hammer. Oh boy. That is not what I was expecting to find in here. Did I miscount my keys? I think I might have miscounted my keys. Yeah, I miscounted my keys. If you found less than 5 small keys in the dungeon, that chest has to be a key. So I miscounted my keys and I didn't have to open that. But yeah, we have Gravity Suit. That opens up Meridia. Oh, and that too. So double dip of this dungeon super required. Is that everything? That's everything. Okay. So we found a gravity suit and a fire rod here. So this actually has some really crazy implications. If we find mirror in Meridia, then that's a sign that Hammer might be at Pyramid Ferry, which is one of the worst places it can be. So now we have confirmation that there is a logical double dip of Palace of Darkness. Actually, it's a forced double dip.
Double dips are never a great thing.
Oh no. No, the only time you want to be double dipping is when you're having ice cream.
So now Raikou begins his trek through Meridia, another place where high jump boots would be helpful, but he doesn't really have to have them. He's going up now to check the Main Street item, which is Speed Booster Lock. just a missile.
And then crab supers as well, which were nothing.
Meridia has a lot of items, but it's a time-consuming part of the game.
I don't mind Meridia, actually. I think Meridia is a lot of... It's enough items that I think it's fine.
Where you and I digress, because I think Meridia is a big wet bag of suck. But, you know.
There's Brian. That's actually still important for the logic, because we don't have the cape yet. Hopefully it doesn't become relevant, because the only two places where that is important for the logic are Spite Cave and a Pendant Dungeon I want nothing to do with. So now I could use Grapple to jump up, to jump across this room like you're supposed to, or I can make this huge jump. AG, you want to tell us more about how this works?
Yeah, this is called a gravity jump, and what he's doing is he's using water physics. He starts his jump with the gravity suit on, and then pauses and switches to Varia, which will continue him at the same speed that he was in while he had gravity on. But using the property of Varia in water will carry him a much farther distance. It's also play on how you can do the same type of jump to get into Lower Norfair, except in that case you have to take off Speed Booster, because water is fine with Speed Booster. Lava has some crappy properties when it comes to Speed Booster. And now we're coming to Watering Hole.
Nothing too useful up here.
Leslie Pro pointing out the fact that should Hammer be at Pyramid Ferry, that would also require defeating Aga 1.
It would, yeah. That's why I said Aga wasn't dead yet. Which makes this whole thing even better. Because we thought we avoided Aga. And then you can fill in the rest of the meme, because I'm not going there.
And now Raikou's saving. This is Aqueduct. There are 2 items to the right and up that he's going to use Speed Booster to get up to. There's also a snail clip you can do, and Wave Beam being a really good item to find.
Oh, Wave Beam is so nice to have. So that's gonna make microwaving the shrimp even faster. So now I'm gonna go down to a lot of viewers' favorite location soon. Anybody got any of them Shack Tool emotes? Let me see those Shack Tool emotes, chat.
Shack Tool probably the biggest time sink in Super Metroid, so it's a crowd favorite. Now, the fact that Raikou does not have high jump boots or space jump...
Well, actually, I can't get to Shack Tool, you're right, yeah.
Oh, he can, but not logically.
Right, I can't get... Well, I also don't know the way to get there, because the only way for me to get to Shack Tool right now, I believe, is the Crystal Flash clip.
There's a bomb jump you can do from jumping out of the sand, but it is crappy.
No. I am not touching that with an 11.5-foot pole, I'm sorry.
But yes, you can Crystal Flash clip the Shack Tool, which is my preferred method over the ice clip.
Oh boy, remember what I said?
And there's the hook shot. Wow, man. This seed here.
Yeah, this is I'm sure there would be some people that would call this cruel and unusual punishment, because this is a seed. I think at this point I'm probably just gonna check the rest of Meridia from the back. If that was nothing, I would check it from the... Oh yeah, these sandfalls are aggravating too. Alright, so with this hook shot, the obvious place to look is Death Mountain, because that opens up 14 items, I think.
All right, so I'm guessing, Raikou, you are heading to Death Mountain.
There's nowhere else really to go. It's just this is just a super linear, just aggravating mess is what this is.
Now, the argument could have been made to go ahead and finish out Meridia while he was there, but the item density on Death Mountain is a bit larger.
Well, not just that, but I can get at the rest of Meridia from the back. By going to Dark World. Which, if this, for whatever reason, turns up empty, then that... Okay, at this point, it'll... Wait, I don't have Mirror.
Yeah, you do need Mirror for Swamp.
And did I also mention that Dead Rocks are the most irritating enemy in this game?
Agreed. Some people pick Beamos, but like the ones that pick Kettle Chips, they would be incorrect. Now, this is Paradox Cave, in that you climb up to go lower.
Very true.
Just a ton of items up here, though.
Mini Moldorms, I'm trying to throw a bomb at the switch, thanks.
Mini Moldorms like Honey Badger, they don't care.
No, they don't.
And there's that hammer.
That's how I feel about that hammer. I am not happy with that at all. Like, that's just mean.
But the good news is that gives him access over to Tower of Hera.
Which... That actually puts Pyramid Fairy in play.
It also gives him the ability to get Dark World from the top of Turtle Rock.
I'm also going to have to climb Paradox Cave again, because I have to check Spiral Cave, too. But I should have done Hera first, whatever.
Yes, Aga 1 is completely dead now.
Thank goodness, because I really was thinking about Pyramid Fairy. Like, it was looking really suspect. I'll have to look at the log for this one when I'm done and see how many spheres this is, because this has to be a pretty crazy number of spheres. Yeah, I should have done Hera before doing this. I'm just gonna, since I don't have Mirror. I guess I was just too excited to do Spiral Cave, because I've forgotten. How many times have you forgotten about Spiral Cave before, AG?
Several. It's one of those things that can just slip past you, because you try to route it in, like after Hera or something, so you don't have to keep doing those climbs, and then you find items that make you think about other stuff, and you just go.
There's a
And
bunch
the next thing you know, that's where your ice rod was.
I'm also really wondering where this mirror's at, because mirror is probably the thing that opens up the seed the most now. Actually, wait, is mirror? I actually think mirror is mirror our go mode? I think mirror might be our go mode.
Yeah, well,
Schrodinger's go mode, because we might need boots. So for those unaware, I'm sure most of you are aware, but for those unaware, go mode is the state in which you have everything you need to finish the game. Schrodinger's go mode is where you might have everything you need to finish the game. The reason
what's called coffee break. Oh, go ahead.
The reason why I say that is because we don't have the Pegasus boots yet, and the Pegasus boots have a roughly 50% chance of being required for Desert, and they have a 1 in 22 chance of being required for Ganon's Tower.
And it can be really unnerving to think you're in go mode and take the gamble that it's not that 1 in 22, and then get there and it is. I believe that happened to Andy at a GDQ.
Well, yeah, it did. That was actually at the first demonstration of the combo randomizer on that stage, where Andy he went in there without boots, and I remember it very well because the Pegasus boots were in the Tower of Hera big chest, which he skipped that chest precisely because he didn't have them. So, like, he had a justified reason to do so. You know what? I'm just gonna go back to the beginning of the dungeon because I forgot to reset the switch. I've done 250 of these before, I swear. I know what I'm doing.
Now, the rest of this is going to be pretty basic for Raikou. He has all the equipment he needs to make short work of the rest of this.
Yeah, the rest of it should be a piece of cake. It's just finding the mirror. There's both the items. So we know now that the mirror cannot be in. Well, we've known that for a while. So Lower Norfair's dead unless we need Pegasus boots. So I'm gonna try to avoid Norfair as long as possible until I have the intel about Desert. But I might not be able to get that intel without going to Norfair in the first place because of how I would get to Desert.
Yeah,
that's the other problem.
This is something.
Like, I want to know whether I need the boots for Desert, but it's 2:10 in and I still can't get there.
What's really going to be cute is if Turtle Rock is locked by bombos.
Please no. Because if Turtle Rock is locked by bombos, then I can get all the way to the bottom of the dungeon. I can do everything with the boss. But I think at this point, if Turtle Rock is bombos, I almost have to go in.
Oh no, I agree. There are certain things that you do. He's up on the mountain. He's looking for these key items. Turtle Rock has 5 items in it. Most runners follow the rule. In this situation, when you've got everything you need to get into Turtle Rock and go to the bottom, you do it.
Yeah, the only thing I can't do is beat the boss. Which, and the boss is going to have an item in, I think, 75% of Turtle Rocks. Oh no! Pendant TR, here we go! Oh, it never ends.
I imagine Raikou will probably do Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny before he ventures forth into Turtle Rock.
Oh, of course. There's no reason not to.
But because he doesn't have mirror, he needed to go ahead and open it up. Because once you jump down in the Dark World, there's no way back up there. But this has been a seed.
This has been quite a ride, yeah. At least I found that in Zelda, not in Metroid, so I didn't have to menu.
You got the all-important Spazer there.
Hey, so Hookshot Cave was a blank. Super Bunny Cave has 2 items in it as well. The reason why we call this Super Bunny Cave is because this is the only... This cave is notable that if you just drop down the hole as a bunny and you come here without Memporal, you can actually get these 2 items. There's the mirror! So that puts us in, no mode, but we'll be in go mode shortly. So now I just have to run over to, I just have to run over to where this mirror is, and that, or not the mirror, where this Varia suit is, and then, I think I'm just gonna knock out dungeons from here.
That's probably...
Well, maybe not, well, do I want to knock out dungeon? You know what? No, I want intelligence on this, I want intelligence on Desert first. Although one note I do want to make is that this trip down to Ridley's Lair actually is not in logic. I don't have logical access to Desert yet. Because I don't have Flute to get there from the Zelda side, and I don't have Space Jump to get there from the Metroid side.
Are you doing a lava spark?
What?
Are you doing a lava spark?
Oh right, I don't have high jump boots. That's right. I guess we're not in go then. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. So we just need Lore and Orphere logic now, I think.
And that's what, Flute, right?
Flute or Space Jump. Wait a second. Wait a second. I have Mirror. I'm getting them high jump boots. That'll solve this whole problem. That's why I thought I was in go mode, is because I had Schrodinger's go mode is because I'm like, wait, I can go get those high jump boots that are on Lake Hylia Island now. Then I'll be able to go down there. That's what I was missing.
One thing about these linear seeds is when you start getting your stuff, it usually starts coming together after that.
Yeah, all I gotta do is grab this high jump, and then I can get down to Ridley's lair. I'll just have to do a gravity jump to do it. Go in here. Like, the only reason I'm going over here right now is to get high jump.
Now, you want to keep your fingers crossed, folks, that Desert does not require boots. Because then we're back to checking everything.
Yep. That's actually the plan. I could also go kill Dragon now. After I pick up these high jump boots. I don't think that's the worst idea because I'm here. Or is it? Well, I'm gonna have to come back for ice anyway. So why bother until I know what desert is? Yeah, why bother until I know what desert is? Also, I'm sorry about the little misroute with high jump. For whatever reason, I thought I had high jump. It's more just finding the mirror is what unlocked everything, so I could get the Varia suit and the high jump. So I thought I had them both. I'm sure you've done that too, and a lot of people. I'm sure everybody's done that. All right, so now that I have high jump boots, I can actually go down to Ridley.
Yep.
So if we don't wind up needing boots, then this should be underestimate still.
All right, so what he's going to do here is the same as the trick he did in Meridia. And as you can see, it just launches him right up on that platform.
Wait, why am I saving if I'm just going to transition? Killing GT with my loadout won't take long.
No, GT's pretty much a cakewalk.
Because I can just stand in the corner and shoot charge wave plasma. Oh, I also forgot to mention, this is the best music in the game.
It is. I remember when I played this game originally, that music is just designed to make your heart beat faster while you're going through this. Because Lower Norfair is one of the deadliest places in this game.
Come on.
Raikou pulling off that trick now I was talking about calling the green gate glitch.
It's real finicky.
It is finicky, but if you get it just right, the hitbox of that super explosion will catch that switch.
Yeah, it's not easy to do.
And all those rippers there, killing those, they have a pretty good drop rate on supers. So you can reload your ammo a bit right there.
Kill GT now. Okay, GT is nothing. The spot I'm standing in right now is safe. GT can't actually hit me with anything. And then by ducking, your plasma shots will hit twice. So it makes that fight really fast. And I actually have to kill GT to leave this... Well, no. I have bombs. So I can bomb jump up there, but it's much easier to just shine spark up there.
Raikou, pardon me for just a second. I'll be right back.
Good. this first. So the only thing we're really searching for still is Pegasus boots, and it's a just-in-case thing. This play is just to see whether we need the Pegasus boots or not. It's roughly a 50% chance that the Pegasus boots are going to be required. That's a small key. So if this is the big key, then we don't need them. Darn. We require Pegasus boot. We require Pegasus boots, unfortunately. Yep, the seed needs them. Nope, we're still hunting for him. But Norfair makes the most sense to search anyway, because it's the most dense location we have left. But now that I got the mirror, I got all those mirror spots to check. This is one of the reasons why I don't like finding late mirrors, because it tends to scatter a lot of locations. So now I'm going to do another short charge to get out of Screw Attack Room. This one's a little trickier, because you have a little bit less space to work with. That should work.
No, Cerebron, hopefully they are not in TR.
Yeah, I would like to actually be able to finish this instead of get cut off by staff, thank you. Although I have to admit, this is at least a good show for everyone. It shows just the horrible, horrible things that this can do to people.
Yeah, crowd typically likes Trolly, and this has been one of the trollier seeds.
I mean, linear seeds tend to be that way. Thankfully, Screw Attack makes this room nice and easy. So that wall jump I did is not actually in logic. The only reason I'm checking this stuff is because I'm here, and then these can suddenly be put into logic if we find Space Jumper Flute.
Or if Space Jumper Flute is somewhere like in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, if they're not in GT, if they're not both in GT, which is pretty unlikely. So this room is called the Amphitheater. There are all kinds of campfire stories that we tell people about seeds that make you go through this room with no gravity suit, no high jump boots, and no space jump. Or some other, like, rude combination of missing movement items that make that room extremely treacherous.
Pretty much every movement item you're missing doubles the danger. And they stack.
And if you have no gravity suit and no high jump, and you fall into that acid that's rising in that room, you're dead, because you don't have the jump height to get out of them. And as far as that save, that's exclusively for marathon safety. I'm perfectly comfortable fighting Ridley with this loadout. But just in case something happens. Alright, I have regular bombs. I should use them. I think this is the point where I stop grabbing ammo. Because with Charge Wave Plasma, more ammo isn't really going to help. But when you don't have that Charge Beam, you just don't stop grabbing ammo. Speaking of beams, Ice Beam hasn't showed up yet either, and that's another nice thing to have.
And the Ninja Pirates fall pretty quickly to 3 supers.
I want to give a shout out to Stump, who actually likes killing the Ninja Pirates with microwave.
Doesn't? I like to use the speedball cannon when I have speed booster.
So now Ridley with this loadout should be a joke.
Yeah, supers do double damage to Ridley, 600. Ridley has 18,000 hit points, so 30 supers dispatches him pretty quickly. But Ridley has the distinction of being a boss that can kill you after he's dead.
Yeah, very, very nice patterns from Ridley. That was a good fight.
Yeah, that pogo is what you want because it allows you to just pump ammo into him. Yeah, really good job on that fight there, Raikou. That's the type of fight you want in a race.
Absolutely.
Quick.
That fight can get so out of control. So at this point, the only thing that's stopping us is Pegasus Boots. And this is another reason why having Mire and Turtle Rock both be pendants can actually be scary for... Where normally if you see those pendants and you think, oh, this is a quick seed. But not in this case, because when you have those dungeons not required, it can lead to really weird endgame loadouts like this one.
And it also brings up, you know what? I'm not even gonna say it. I'm not. Raikou coming out on the exit to Lower Norfair. Again, having Screw Attack and Gravity is a great advantage here. Because of the any percent run, many of them end. Not at Ridley, but leaving Lower Norfair. Oh, those Key Hunters do a ton of damage.
Those Key Hunters do this. The Red Key Hunters do the same amount of damage as the Spike platforms in Spiky Death Room. Without Gravity Suit, they do 100 damage. And even with Gravity, they still do 50, which is a lot.
Yeah, but the odds of that Cerebron are low. Raikou still has all up Norfair. He's got Crocomire.
I don't think I can ignore Croc at this point.
Not unless you find the boots.
I mean, if I find the boots, then I just stop checking items. But Screw Attack makes this room nice and easy. We're just out of that room lickety-split. And I'm honestly not surprised that boots weren't there, because none of that was in logic. Oh, I love this mock ball. This mock ball is really cool. The one coming out of the Lower Norfair Escape. It's really cool, and it's really easy to do.
Oh, wow. Oh, you weren't going for the ball boost, that's right. Because you have to check weight.
Yep. No game, I don't need the penny.
Hi, Greg.
Oh, is that your name for the penny?
That's like a meme name for the penny. Now, Raikou can check all these items fairly quickly, especially since he has Speed Booster.
Yeah, these items are all really fast. I think the next play after this is probably oh, why'd I use a super there? The next play is probably Dragon and Ice Palace. Like just finish Ice Palace while we're in the Dragon area. Because one of the transition points is very close to Ice Palace. And there's quite a few items still in Meridia. There's 5. Which is a pretty good equity at this point. But right now, Norfair is definitely our best ROI at this point.
Stand-up glitch is definitely in the rotation.
So now there's Cathedral and then Kraken, I think. Well, there's also the Speed Booster area. Or, like, Ice Beam. But I can do that on the way out.
Have you already looked at the missile?
That's what I'm checking.
No, I mean the Bubble Mountain missile.
I'll take that.
Well, that's going to speed the rest of it up. Also put Shack in logic.
Yup. Well, that was in logic since we had high jump. Because for whatever reason, Shack Tool is in logic with grapple and high jump.
You can jump off of that sand straight up through the hole is why.
Yeah, it's really stupid, but you can. But yeah, this is gonna speed up the rest of these Metroid checks. The only thing that's irritating about this route is even when I find Pegasus Boots, I'm gonna have to go to Lower Norfair again to get to Desert. Oh, also, flashing lights warning. Bye, Crocomire.
Yeah, the game did not intend you to have plasma at this point because plasma penetrates, so it winds up doing a ton of damage to Crocomire on every frame that the beam is penetrating. So it just drives him right back into the ass.
Yep, and all you need to do that is just charge in plasma. So there's 4 more things down here. I have space jump, so I don't get to do the cool shine spark over to this that by the way, Total has still not fixed. I think I told Total about that at like end of version 9. That like why can't you shine spark over there from that room to get that item? And as far as I'm aware, that still has not. I think it's on the dev build now. I think he said it's on the dev build, so it'll be in the next update. But in the current stable version, that logic oversight is still not fixed. So, unfortunately, Croc not paying out so far. There's still 2 more checks. There's the grapple beam item, and then there's the pantry.
Still think it was well worth it to just go ahead and knock it out while you were here, though.
Well, of course. Because if you don't... Because just for Croc area in general, my philosophy with going to any location is if you don't do this now, when are you going to do it later? Because you're not going to feel good when you come back there after doing everything else and the thing you need is there. So I'm not disappointed with that. Because there's also still a fair bit in Zelda. There's all the mirror checks. There's Swamp Palace. Which actually, Swamp Palace might be a better idea first given my route to Dragon is going to be through Zelda, and I'm going to have to pass right by the entrance to Swamp Palace anyway. So why not do it?
Also, disclaimer here, it's our full disclosure, Swamp Palace is Raikou's favorite dungeon.
Well, I have to go in there anyway. It's a crystal.
I know that, but that doesn't change the validity of my statement, Raikou.
Yeah, I love Swamp Palace. I get called crazy for it every time I mention how much I love Swamp Palace, just because it's 6 items. I also need to do a... Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I'm disappointed in myself, because I forgot to do the reverse Shine Spark through, like, the Shine Spark where you go backwards through... Like, through the tunnel to Croc. I should have done that. That looks so cool. Going through the shortcut to Croc backwards.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I'm sorry, I completely forgot to do that, and this would have been a perfect opportunity because then I could go up and check this from the other side. And it probably won't be anything, but it probably would be faster than what I'm doing now.
So with this check, it will definitely close out North there.
It will. And since I saved at the Business Center save station, if there's nothing here, I can just reset. So from here, Swamp is the play. I think I'm also gonna run over and check Cave 45 while I'm there too, because it's close. It's close enough to Swamp Palace.
Is it just me, or did you get a lot of big 20s in a row just then?
A lot, yeah. There were a lot there. I think there were 4 or 5 of them in a row. And I also tell you, this not having flute thing is not very fun. Wait, why am I going here? Oh, I was thinking about... I guess there are a couple of other things I could do in town next time I'm there, if I have to go there. But at this point, we're down to just a couple dungeons and some one-off checks. So Swamp is our best play. After Swamp, we're down to one-off checks. Like all the mirror spots.
The mirror spots, the rest of Skull Woods, Powder.
I'm probably gonna do the town checks with the back of Skull Woods, but I'm not doing that because there's only the Skull Woods itself is a single check. So it makes more sense to do this check because we're in the area, and then go to Swamp afterward because that's 6 checks. Then after that, it's just all about rounding up dungeons. Because I can do Ice Palace and Dragon together. Pod has no items in it, because at least I don't think it has any items in it. It might have 1. But I think we got everything out of there. But Swamp Palace just makes the most sense, because it has so much. This is also what I have to say about this seed.
What's that?
I'm honking the horn. Well, I was honking the horn going through the dam. So the reason why a lot of people don't like this dungeon is because when you just need the crystal out of this dungeon, you don't have to open a single chest. But the reason why I like this dungeon so much is because it has more items than any other dungeon.
Swamp Palace is in the unique position of being able to make you or break you. A gamble on Swamp that pays off will typically win you a race against a lot of runners.
But
unless you're racing a Raikou who's going to take that same gamble. Go ahead, Raikou.
But yeah, you do make a good point about this dungeon. Is a lot of players like to put this off because it's so quick when you're not looking for items. But it does take a long time when you're looking for items. But given the quantity of items in here, I feel it's well worth it. It's well worth your time. But you are definitely correct. If there does wind up being nothing in here, full clearing this dungeon can be a time sink.
But if there's something on, especially on the left side, because even the ones that come in here have a tendency to want to skip the left side of Swamp.
So the way I like to handle left side Swamp when I'm go -1 is complete the dungeon and then see how many items are there. $17 hearts. But if you're going to full clear the dungeon, it's better to do it this way. And I am gonna do the Rusty Key. So Rusty Key is this neat little trick with Cane of Samaria that you're gonna see. So AG, if you wouldn't mind explaining what I'm about to do.
Yeah, Raikou's going to do a trick where he's able to actually ignore the water as if it does not exist, because typically doing what he just did is called flooding your key. The dungeon is not designed for you to have that key. So what he's doing is using a Samaria block, and he's going to place it very carefully. And then when he comes back in, he's going to squeeze over in between it and the rail. And it's going to allow him to clip through the rail and then walk in, pick up the pot, and get the key. Now when he comes back out, all he has to do is jump back in the water, and he's ready to go again.
Yeah, there's another spot we're going to be able to do this later in the dungeon. That trick is called a diver down, and it was discovered, I want to say, in the last 12 months. So it's a relatively new piece of tech. It doesn't actually open up any new checks, it's strictly a time saver.
Yeah, diver down saves you from having to drag that statue and the animation of when you push the lever and drain the water.
Okay, so we were going to come back here anyway. Because my philosophy when you're go -1 is generally speaking, not in this situation, but in a race type situation where you're go -1, and you go to the boss and you find there are at least 2 items left in play in Swamp, it's better just to go back and get them. But if it's one item, I'm willing to gamble that. The other thing I was getting concerned about is a left side big key. Because the big key, when you're searching for items in this dungeon, can be one of the most aggravating things. Also, why did I do that? That defeats the whole purpose of it. That defeats the whole purpose of the diver down. Well, not all of it, because I would still have to flip the button. But I still want to show off this piece attack. Well, I can't now, because I just did it the normal way. Okay, I'll try to explain it. I'll try to explain it a little when I go into that room. So that staircase there, that's the one you would initiate it from. Oh hey, a Quake medallion, that's not helpful. So,
what was the mire?
Ether.
Oh, okay.
So now we have a 50% chance of being. We have a 50% chance of the big key being on the boss, because this is one of the 2 dungeons where the big key can be on the boss.
Which with Raikou's equipment, this boss is going to be nothing. Tempered sword and silvers, Argus is pretty much toast.
If you can get into a rhythm with the Argus puffs, you can just decimate this boss in no time at all. I'm just gonna use Tempered Sword. Usually when I go for a Silver Arrow kill, if I miss him on the opening volley, I'll just kill him with swords, because it's very difficult to hit Argus with a Silver Arrow while he's in motion. And of course, Swamp is nothing.
This seed just gets more and more interesting.
No kidding. I'm gonna go to Drake. I'm gonna go to Dragon next.
Yeah, I would concur. A lot of people think at this point you want to start closing out areas. You've already had to do a lot of running around, so you're just going to want to go ahead and full clear what you can. So that way you can say, all right, this area is crossed off the list. Because the truth is, odds are it won't happen, and we hope it won't happen, but this particular configuration still raises a lot of nasty possibilities still. It's quite possible that, say, for example, Ether can be in Turtle Rock with Ice Rod in Misery Mire, so that you can go back and complete Turtle Rock, so that you can get boots off a ped.
Yeah, I'm a little bit scared of that. Like if Ether shows up, then I have to start thinking about that.
And at this point, Raikou doesn't have a flute, so either way, unless he finds flute, if he doesn't find flute, he has to go through Lower Norfair to get back to Mire. If he doesn't find flute or book, he has to go back through Lower Norfair to get. No, you don't. You can
No, I have to go back. I have to. Well, not to get to the desert. If I don't find the book, yeah. I would really like for book to show up so that I don't have to make that trip.
Well, I mean, with flute, you have the mirror. You can go over there and come from the side, you know.
With mitts. If I have flute. There's a lot of things I would like to see show up. But really, just give me the boots so I can be done.
You'll make that trip through Lower Norfair if they'll just go ahead and give you the boots now, right?
Alright. Alright, who's ready for some microwave shrimp? This is one of my favorite kills in the game.
This is one of the coolest things about doing randos. Using the X-ray, you buffer X-ray, which makes your boss run out of iframes.
Correct.
So the plasma does many times more damage.
It's very similar. It's very similar to pause buffering in Mega Man. In say NES Mega Man, it's very similar to that. And you also cannot do this in vanilla because you need to kill Dragon to get Plasma Beam at all. So now I'm gonna save at this. I'm gonna save at this save spot because if these 3 items are nothing, it's gonna take me way too long to get back up to this area, and I still need to go. I went too far. I still need to get ice or go through Ice Palace. I can just go straight to the bottom of it because I've already got everything out of the dungeon, I think. Yeah, I believe I have all 3 items. So, the route I'm gonna take will be checking... not this way. Not this way. This makes no sense. Because I still have to check, Dragon or Batuni tank. See if it's here. It's not. Oh hey, it's an E-tank. Wait, what am I doing? I don't have the thing I need, so I'm gonna just go back this way and... So now, for the rest of Meridia, I'm gonna go down to Shack Tool and then up to Plasma, and then if my Pegasus Boots or progression isn't there, I can just reset back to that save I made after Dragon. That's a very common save. That's a very common strategy for Shack Tool and Plasma. But at this point, we are down to single checks. Wait a second. No, we're not. Okay, I know what I'm doing immediately after this. This is something that should have been done about an hour ago. Remember when we were talking about TR and then I found all that stuff?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, about that. I never actually went into TR. That's
Yeah,
probably where it is. At this point. I'm just trying to think how long it's going to take me to clear the rest of these dungeons. Because all these dungeons except Desert I've already been in. So it's just going straight to the boss. Alright, what do you have? Are you my Pegasus Boots, Shack Tool?
Have you even looked at Bumper Ledge?
Oh yeah, why did I grab that? Yeah, I already checked Bumper Ledge and I have Brian. But that's like an in case this is in case the Plasma is Pegasus Boots. Because I'm gonna be resetting that away. Because that's the whole idea of this route, is you want to check Plasma last and then just reset if there's nothing here. So I'm actually going to have to uncheck Magic Cape, unless this is something I want to keep up here.
About the only two things that would be, I think, at this, well, three, you would keep flute, book, or ether, something that
Flute,
is
book, or ether, yeah, that's about it. Maybe ice rod.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That is none of the above. Okay, so that was a blank.
But that is Meridia crossed off the list.
That's actually a full clear of Super Metroid.
And now we know it's all in Zelda. Doesn't mean he won't have to go back into Super Metroid, because he may have to do it.
I may have to get to Meyer. Well, I might have to get to Desert. As with the loadout I have right now, I'm gonna have to go back through Lore Norfair to get to Desert. Come on. Did I mention clipping past these guys can be irritating? A lot of people will take off their gravity suit to clip through those.
Yeah, what you do is you jump straight up, and while you're holding jump, you hold down, and it clips right through.
That's precisely what I was trying to do.
No, I was just explaining.
Right. Alright. I have all the items out of ice, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do ice now. There's no reason not to.
Wait, what are your two red crystals?
Skullwoods.
Okay.
Skullwoods and Hera are the red crystals. So actually, come to think of it, maybe knocking out Skullwoods first might not be the worst idea.
Because that lets you do Pyramid Fairy transitioning into Pod.
Yeah, get the crystals done. Although at that point, if it's not at Pyramid Fairy, I would probably still need to get that done. It's faster than climbing that mountain more than I have to, I'll tell you that. I also am gonna have to do the bomb jump, because I don't have the big key. I know where it is.
While Raikou's making his way down to the bottom of ice, I just want to mention that announcement you saw there. St. Jude's Children's Hospital is a really great cause that they're doing this for. Like I said, the hospital costs about $2.8 million a day, but they're dedicated to the care of children at no cost, and they allow amenities for the families to be there, the parents, and that is huge, especially in this day and age. So really good charity. If you can, give a little, maybe spread the link. They could use every dollar they could get.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's off there to Raikou for being a part of this. I appreciate you inviting me. It's really nice to be a part of this.
Oh, you're welcome. I couldn't think of anybody better. You have a very pleasant voice to listen to. You're very knowledgeable.
Well, when we're done, would you explain that to my wife? Because that's not what she tells me.
Oh, that came out of nowhere.
That came out of 30 years. That's where that came out of. Because if you ask her, she's tired of hearing my voice, and I don't know a damn thing. So,
Oh, I'm sorry. I must have opened a can of worms somewhere.
No, it's all good. All right, so Raikou about to drop into Coal Stair.
Oh, with Tempered Sword, this is gonna be a piece of cake.
Tempered Sword Bombos, Fire Rod, and Red Mail. Pretty much.
Oh, Cold Stare's gonna melt.
No good. Yeah, he's a done deal.
Yeah, you try to trap him in the corner with your sword. If you can't, just clean him up with Fire Rod. So that small key means that the Cane of Samaria was logically required to finish this dungeon. Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Why am I doing it this way? I have to save and quit to get to town anyway. This not having flute thing is aggravating.
Hind parts. I finally thought of a family-friendly way to say it. It's hind parts.
Yup. That's a good one. So now the plan is to finish Skullwood so that we can get the 5-6. So 2 of your 7 crystals are going to be red, and the 5th and 6th crystals in the vanilla game trigger the big bomb showing up in the bomb shop where Link's house is, but in the other world. And that will let you, in the vanilla game, get the silver arrows and a sword upgrade. But just like with the Waterfall Fairy, that has been replaced with 2 treasure chests containing random items. This is so that the prizes out of there can be randomized. I believe there is also still an item back here.
There is one. I don't believe you found the big key either.
Correct. The big key is in the back.
What could be in the chest?
You're right, it could be in the big chest. Picking up that small key in that pot just saves some time.
I'm just amazed this late in the game at the things we don't have.
You're not the only one. Like, watch GT be just completely loaded. Like, all the stuff we're missing is in GT. I kind of hope so that the situation of, like, Pegasus Boots peeing, like, someplace really dumb doesn't turn up. Can it be something straightforward, like Pyramid Fairy? I'll even take in TR at this point. But we are really running out of places for this.
And again, that puts in mind some of those awful possibilities that I was talking about before.
Hey, I didn't have to yell at Mothula to get out of the corner. There's that big key. So I'm gonna go back in and check that bridge chest, and then if it's not, it's just in the big chest.
What a seed. No quick fun. This thing wants a relationship.
A little bit.
Wow.
It just wants to drag this on as long as it can.
So tell me, say it's not here. Do you go ahead and grab Graveyard Ledge while you're right here? or do you hold off on that?
I think that's a bit far. I would rather do Magic Bat and Hammer Pegs. They're 1 closer, and 2, it's more density.
Wow. Just wow. And the hunt continues.
Yep, I'm gonna run over to... Yep, I'm gonna run over to check Magic Bat and Hammer Pegs. Then I'm gonna do Big Bomb, and then after that, we're gonna just go straight into TR. And if it's been in TR the whole time, I'm not gonna feel very good. Because I should have gone into TR as soon as I got... I think it was as soon as I had what, Mitts?
Yeah, I think so. No, Hammer.
Oh, it was Hammer that was the problem. I mean, no one was gonna find that Hammer anywhere close to early anyway. The Hammer was how many spheres deep? Like, way too many. Yeah, let's check Magic Bat real quick.
All right, so we cross Hammer Pegs off the list. The list does continue to shrink. At least we know it cannot throw Aga at us.
Yeah, Aga's completely dead. Alright, next is Pyramid Fairy, and then we're just gonna go into TR. There's also Mimic Cave, which I like to consider Turtle Rock's 6th item.
Yeah, that is wrapped up with Turtle Rock, period. There's also Spike Cave.
That wouldn't be a bad check either. But that'll probably be after Turtle Rock.
I typically do it, and your logic's fine. In a situation like this, I typically do it before Turtle Rock. Just on the off chance that if it is in there, it saves me that whole trek through Turtle Rock. But the odds of that versus, in the item density, the odds are way stacked against that.
That's why I'm going into Turtle Rock main. And I just really feel for just the staff because between the tech issues and between the tech issues and just the seed being nasty.
Yeah, this was one of the nastier seeds I've seen in a while.
Oh no. You're kidding me.
It just keeps getting better and better, y'all.
You kidding me. This is unreal.
On behalf of the staff, the trolliness of this seed is definitely very entertaining.
I told you, people love watching just runners be completely tortured by this randomizer.
Yeah, and this one will drag you. Just straight up.
Alright, I should probably mark that too. I mean, all I need him for is desert.
Yes. Thank you, Cerebron, for bringing up the untold truth here. Many, many times people have gotten on to me about the type of seeds that I roll. And my answer has always been, yeah, call Raikou and let him roll one for you. What you are seeing right now.
I rolled this one. But then again, I rolled the last one that I did for marathon practice and got a 303.
My experience with Raikou seeds has been, let's say, uncomfortable.
All right. Because I think the last race we did? Was it the last race? I know it was a race we did not too long ago. Are you kidding me?
Oh, God.
I'm having flashbacks to the race that we did where it was Morph Ball on left side swamp.
This is a Billy Mays seed. Cause wait, there's more.
Yup! It just keeps going. So now that book puts the tablets in play. Okay, at least I can do this. Oh wait, I don't have the boots! I was trying to do the Kate and Berna dash, but I don't have the boots.
You're pressing A and wondering why you're not getting your turbo loose pin, right?
What is going on?
No, I tell you, those of you that may be watching that have a little bit of knowledge about this, in hindsight, you can say something like, well, if he just went ahead in the pod, he'd have found the gravity, which would have pushed him to Meridian, got him to, yeah, woulda, shoulda, coulda. But if you look at the context clues of the items that you got and what it would seem to indicate logically, this was a deceptive seed.
Going to pod at that time made absolutely no sense.
But it's also an example of one of those times where if you were to gamble, you might have gotten a payoff there. If you read what, if you took that gravity and followed it.
Yeah, I am definitely going to have to take a look at the log for this when I'm done and see just how many spheres this is, because this has to be a lot of spheres. I think this is Big Key. Because that's the last place it can be.
Yeah, if you don't have it before here, it's definitely in here. I can't wait to see what's next. I'm hoping at least a flute shows up at this point.
Yeah, if a flute shows up. Yeah, I'm really hoping a flute shows up, but there's not too many more places it can be, is the concern. Because you have to remember that there's a ton of items in GT. And in the combo randomizer.
Warfare, but 5 in a row of them, which big 20s,
Because in the combo randomizer, flute is not a strictly required item.
All right, coming in on Mimic Cave, y'all.
I have Tempered Sword. I can just... Oh, is it here? I hate this game so much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I can't see your timer, Raikou.
3:16. That's awful for Go mode, by the way.
3:16. We have Go mode.
Actually, I can just save quit out of here. Because I don't have anything else to do in here. So, I have to go back to Palace of Darkness, finish that boss, then go back to Metroid, then go back to Metroid to get to Desert. All without a flute.
I'd say we're probably 35 to 38 minutes from done, give or take. GT and Turian together take about 20 minutes.
20, yeah. Well, maybe not that much. Maybe not that much, because
taking into account you've got to go through Lower Norfair to get to Desert, and then you got to escape from Lower Norfair.
Why do I have to escape from Lower Norfair? I can just finish Desert and then... I can finish Desert and then save quit.
Oh, that's right, you can.
This won't take that long.
30 minutes.
Yeah, probably about a half hour.
Right, you have book. You don't have to go through Lower Norfair at all.
Oh, you're right, yeah.
Shout outs to my son there, Reverse. Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Okay, that'll save some time. So now we actually get to finally talk about what item dashing is.
Item dashing is just that. Dashing with an item like the hammer or a blue cane going. Interestingly enough, it does not work unless you have a sword.
Yeah, I should have had those Pegasus boots a long time ago. That doesn't make it any less trolly, though. But the rest of the game with this loadout should be just an absolute joke. Tempered Sword, Silver's Red Mail on the Zelda side. I am going to need to powerbomb the Metroids in Turian, though, so that's going to make Turian take a little longer.
Assuming ice doesn't show up in GT.
Yeah, if ice doesn't show up in GT anyway. Oh, Helmasaur King is playing nice.
It's always nice when he walks right up there and lets you bonk him in the nose with that hammer over and over.
So now the rest of these bosses should just go down lickety-split. And a lot of the reason why this has taken so long is because of like no flute at all and boots this late, because Pegasus boots save a surprising amount of time. Being able to dash everywhere saves about 2 to 3 minutes per hour.
It feels like more than that, honestly, when you have them in game, or when you don't have them, and you feel like your opponent has boots. It feels like you're just losing massive time. But 2 to What would you say? 2 to 4 minutes an hour?
2 to 3 minutes an hour. Yeah.
In a race situation, that is massive time.
That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, then you factor in no flute, like Nemi's talking about. It's like, wow.
One of the best ways that you can improve your Link to the Past routing is go to play the standard Link to the Past randomizer and open up the customizer and put both the boots and the flute in Ganon's Tower, and then just hit generate. This is the reason why I left the dungeon this way is to set up my mirror spot so that I can mirror out as soon as I find the big key, no matter where it is. Because I need the small key to get to the big key. Because unfortunately, the big key decided to not be nice and be in the map chest. That's the whole reason we needed the Pegasus boots to begin with. So that means the big key is going to be in here. And then we can mirror right back. Oh yeah, guys, get your it's going to be time soon. So if you have your numbers in mind, better think of one soon, because we're going to be opening that up pretty much as soon as we kill the land mullahs. So get your numbers in mind.
And as Raikou heads to Lamelas, let me just say again, thanks y'all for joining and for hanging in. I know there were some technical difficulties, and really hats off to the staff for getting that sorted out. It's a process of elimination, and I think they handled it fairly quickly with all the tracking down they had to do. So good job, their staff.
Oh, absolutely. Like I've said multiple times, SpeedDoc staff, unsung heroes of this event.
Holding back on the save and kill, the cutoff. When Raikou enters G4, you're going to have about 4 minutes or so. So if you've been holding back, now would be the time.
Land Mullah's not cooperating. But that is 7 crystals. So it's time for everybody's favorite Link to the Past randomizer game, the Ganon's Tower Big Key Guessing Game. There are 22 chests in Ganon's Tower, one of which will contain the big key. Get your guesses in chat now.
I'm going with 11, assuming you follow a certain route. Somebody always, by the way, Funyuns are tasty. I like that name because I agree.
3.
Nemi already has 3.
Oh, Nemi has 3?
Of 11, 20, 14, 22, 3, 6, 7, and 9.
8. Like, that's still fairly quick. Although, admittedly, the 303 that I got before starting this, that had where you had to check Hope Room and only Hope Room. It was great. Small key, big key, Hope Room. Can we have that, please? Although I'm sure chat wants it to be a big key hunt.
Yeah, there's a 22 and a tile room in here.
Well, 22 and tile room are the same thing. Like,
I know.
We aren't gonna... Of course they would say tile room.
Unless you do something fancy here.
I mean, there is always going to be people that want to see it in tile room.
Evil. After the rest of this seed, you still want to see tile room?
A lot of the woes in the seed were mostly just the hammer being in a really bad spot. Like, loaded pod with hammer being where it was just awful. So even disregarding the Pegasus boots, you're still gonna be looking for that hammer for a long time. I can't believe it's not butter.
So that's 1 and 2.
That's gonna speed up the Ganon fight a lot. That's really the only fight where butter is super. Oh, that's where that's been. That's gonna stay right there.
And that's number 3.
So 8 would be the fire snake chest on this route. Four is a missile. 5 is a key. Big key.
We have a winner. Number 6, as guessed by Smackdown Soup. That's a good name. I like that. Y'all got some good names in here.
Good stuff. So now the actual randomizer portion of this is over. Now it's just getting to the end of the game as quickly as possible. But there's a lot of execution in this Ganon's Tower, where depending on how quickly runners can piece it together, there are many races that come down to Ganon's Tower execution.
Soup, I've got some bad news, but I have some good news. The bad news is there's no actual prize for guessing right, but the good news is there's a lifetime supply of it. So enjoy that. Hey, CJ, can you give us an update on that save kill total?
You betcha. The kill is still in the lead by almost or over $100. So we're gonna kill those animals, unless someone wants to snipe it really quick.
So now we're coming up on the gauntlet. These are some of the most difficult rooms to do quickly in Ganon's Tower. Because all these rooms are rooms where you have to defeat every enemy in the room to be able to move to the next one, and a lot of the movement on these enemies is quite random. Fire Rod helps out a ton in this room.
When you have half magic, you can be a bit more loose with the Fire Rod. Raikou wants to be a little careful, but having that butter as backup, yeah, and Silvers, he's good.
Yeah, I do need to watch my arrow count, though, because I'm a little bit low. But I believe there's some in here. These next couple rooms with the Cane of Samaria are so cool if they're executed right. That room's free, the next room is not. Nice. That room's not easy. This room isn't easy either. I don't know about you, but the first time I played this game, this room tripped me up for a really long time.
I was in the very good position of having someone that taught me how to do this, because I ran SMZ3 for about 2 weeks and then entered a co-op tournament. So Wesker and I spent quite a few weeks with him teaching me how to do all these rooms. So I didn't have to really struggle through it long.
When you have somebody that's that good at the combo randomizer teaching you, it helps out a lot. Both with the routing and with the execution.
Yeah, the first race we ever did was a 309. So, you know, that speaks volumes to how good he is as a teacher.
And I hope to be able to teach people just that well. Although my expertise has always more been on the routing side. Nope. I was checking some chests that were on the way, just because I'm still looking... Just because, like, Ice Beam would still be nice to have. Alright, time for agonometry.
This, to me, is one of the most aggravating rooms in the game when it goes awry. When they get out of sync, it can become a pain.
Nice!
Triple. What? And the double triple.
Yeah, double triple was... that's a pretty good capstone, I would say. Although, to be fair, those patterns were pretty easy. When they're all in a line like that, if you just stand kind of in between them on the other side of the room, it makes it really easy. I'm actually gonna put the lag. I'm gonna actually put the lag cane on for this part. This is why I wanted the cape mostly, because the lag cane. This is why it's called the lag cane. But this just ensures that I can get that one cycle. Apparently Ganon wants this to go on for a while, too.
Now, the most teleports I've ever seen, 16.
I wouldn't be surprised if 16 is the most, because of computers.
It happened to Nightwolf. He was raging. Looks like you're going for the record, though, bro.
Yeah, Ganon apparently wants this to go on for a while, too. Did I get him? Good.
Oh, nice setup.
That was a beautiful one cycle. And get your G's in chat.
Get your G's in chat for Raikou. The pig is dead. But
Not yet.
we have one more thing we need to do.
Yep. We got Mother Brain left. I might have to refill my power bombs. I'll have to check. No, but I'm probably gonna want supers. Mostly for, like, Zebs. Zebs and MB1. But we are coming up on the Golden 4 soon, so if you want to snipe that save-kill incentive, I would say you have about a little over 5 minutes left to do it.
Are you going to try baby skip, Raikou?
No, I have no clue how to do it.
Oh, okay.
I'm also not going to do anything with stand-up either, because I just don't want any accidents happening.
Gotcha. Okay. With all those supers, is the DPS you can get off of that is quicker than the charge plasma wave shot.
Exactly. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to kill the Metroids with power bombs. So actually, you know what? I'm actually just going to turn Screw Attack off.
Typically, I leave it on because when they're locked onto me, once I lay the power bomb, if you fly with Screw Attack, they stop draining your energy.
Well, this also lets me damage down for Baby.
Gotcha.
That's not the primary reason, but it's a reason. Because if you don't have Ice Beam, it takes 3 power bombs apiece to kill all these Metroids. That's another thing you have to be careful of if you do it this way, is sometimes if you're going in one of the in-between speeds with Speed Booster, those Metroids can run away from you and hang on the edge of the screen for whatever reason.
Yeah, that last one in this room that he just snagged is famous for hanging off the edge of the screen.
Yeah, he almost did it to me. And my health is going to be in good shape for this room, too. Now, the other reason why I took Screw Attack off is... Oh, wait, I don't have Ice. Like, if I had Ice, then I would need to take it off for Zeb Skip, but I don't have Ice, so I have to do Zeb Skip Skip.
Oh, you don't do Speed Skip?
That's a Stutter 3, come on!
I don't do it either. I can do the Stutter 3, but for some reason I can never get that Speed Zeb Skip with it.
Well, it's not just that. It's a Stutter 3 through a door transition.
That's probably why it is. And that is a quick drain.
That's why I damage down so much.
No, Titty, that's not where you say the baby yet. The baby. So Raikou coming through now. He does not have eyes, and the speed Zeb Skip is finicky, is a good way to put it. But there is a trick you can do called the Zebetite Skip, where you can freeze one of the Rinkas at the bottom and clip through the Zeb. That makes the rest of them not spawn, so you can just fly straight to the back of the room. Raikou does not have that option at this point. So it takes 4 supers to kill a Zeb, 11 missiles to kill a Zeb. He's got tons of ammo, so he's going with the quick route, which is just the 4 supers. Now, the one other thing about not having ice is usually you freeze these Rinkas coming out at you, and they just troll you to death while you're trying to kill Mother Brain. But Raikou, with all that ammo, can get it taken care of pretty quick.
And then with charge wave plasma, it'll just be 24 charge shots. This will be a piece of cake.
All right, so the cutoff on the save kill, Raikou's got 24 charge shots. When you see Mother Brain's head hit the ground, CJ, is when we need to know whether or not he's saving or killing the animal.
You got it.
Should be in catch-up phase now. Yep. So then I need to get between 300 and 400 energy to make this go optimally.
Yeah, there is a trick called stand-up glitch, where Raikou could have taken off Varia and kept 700 health and been able to damage Mother Brain during this cutscene, but there are things that can go wrong there, like getting soft locked. So
yeah, accidents can happen. And then the rest of this fight is just scripted. I already see the Bible thumbs. Oh no, the baby! So then we'll be entering Mother Brain 3, which is just 36 Hyper Beam shots. Too close. Because if you keep the right distance, you can just angle up and then kind of stun lock her in the corner. Alright, we're going to be coming up, CJ. We need to cut it off now, please.
You are killing the animals.
Good. Very good.
Funyuns, I think there's actually a music pack that you can put on this that will do that.
So thankfully, because we have Speed Booster, we can make this escape quite a bit faster. Because doing escape without Speed Booster can get really not fun.
It's hind parts.
Yup.
Now, Raikou is killing those key hunters, not only to get them out of his way, but that's an anti-lag strap. And, you know, shout out to the key hunters. Say what you want, but they're loyal. The planet is exploding all around them, and they still just trying to get Mega Man there. Mega Samus.
And I do want to give some shout-outs to just the community that does the custom sprites in general, because you have no idea how much work it is to make a custom sprite for this game. The sprite sheet for this is enormous. But we are coming up on time very soon. Time is when we face forward in the ship. And time. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you so much for having us. I'm sorry we went significantly over estimate. Unfortunately, we won't be able to show you the stat screen. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming out and doing commentary for me. Shout-outs to Total for being the main developer. And just the community in general.
Thank you both so much for this great run. I know that it went a little overestimate, but it was a pretty fun time throughout the whole ordeal. And once we got those tech issues sorted out, it was 2 hours and 45 minutes of smooth sailing. So, great job, guys. Great commentary, great gameplay. And if you guys have anything else, otherwise we'll kick it back over to an ad.
What a seed.
What a seed indeed. No, just thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it. Anything I can ever do to help you out, just let me know. Thanks for inviting me, Raikou. And you guys be sure to follow Raikou if you don't already. And just, our part's over, but, you know, share that link because it's a great charity. Y'all have a good night.
Also, one more thing. If you want to play this yourself, Samus.link.
Samus.link. Okie dokie.